Hello guys, welcome back to my channel and enjoy this fanfic part 2. Now let's start the fanfic. Is it weird having two brothers that hate each other? Sakura asked and they looked at Menma who was glaring daggers at Naruto. It's mainly Menma. Naruto doesn't even do anything really. Narumi said, must be some awkward dinners. Sakura said, not really. Naruto quickly eats and leaves. He prefers to be alone at night where he just sits and watches the stars at night. Narumi said, watch the stars? Sakura asked. It's very relaxing. Narumi said, seems kind of boring. Sakura said and Narumi shrugged. Your loss. Have you seen my mom or Kakashi-sensei yet? Narumi asked. No. It's weird how they tell us to be here this early and they aren't here. I could have slept in longer. Sakura said, Naruto's sleeping. Narumi said and pointed at him. I doubt it. Last time he was supposedly sleeping, Kiba threw a kunai at him and he caught it. Sakura said, true, but I don't want to see if he's sleeping or not. Narumi said, I'll do it. Menma said and threw a shuriken at Naruto, but it disappeared. Huh. Sakura said and Menma threw another one only for the same exact thing to happen. What's going on? I know he's not moving. Narumi thought. What is happening? Menma yelled and threw all of his kunai, but none of them hit. If you're done attacking your teammate, we'd like to get started. Kushina said and glared at Menma, as she appeared with Kakashi. We can't start. I'm out of kunai. Menma said. That's not my problem. You decided to waste them on your own teammate who isn't even over there. Kushina said. What do you mean? Narumi asked. Yeah, he's right there. Sakura said and pointed at Naruto. It's a genjutsu. Kakashi said and released the genjutsu. Then where's Naruto? Sakura asked. He's sleeping in the tree. Kushina said and pointed at Naruto. How strong is he? Narumi thought. Naruto. It's time to start. Kushina said and yanked him out of the tree with her chakra chains. A simple wake up would have worked, you know. Naruto said, alright, let's start training. What super duper awesome jutsu are we learning today? Menma asked. None. Kakashi said. Why not? Menma asked. This is just a test to see all of your skills individually and as a team. Kakashi said. Sounds simple. Which one of these four do I have to beat? Menma asked. Neither. All of you will each have a chance to face both of us 2-on-1 individually before we do the team test. Kushina said. 2-on-1 isn't fair. You're both high-ranking Jonin and I'm pretty sure Kushina-sensei is stronger or just as strong as Lady Tsunade. Sakura said. True, but in this individual test we'll lower our skill levels to match that of yours and see how you do. Once we gauge your limit, we'll take things up a notch to see how you do. Sakura, you're up first. Kushina said. Okay. Sakura said. Don't worry. We're going to go easy on you. Kushina said. Whenever you're ready. Kakashi said. Remember to use everything you know how to do. Kushina said and Sakura ran towards her. She's not fast. Kakashi thought. Kakashi and Kushina both easily blocked a punch from Sakura that did have some power behind it. They both went on the offensive at the rate of a genin, which was too much for Sakura to handle, and estimated her level was at an academy student, which wasn't disappointing, but it wasn't good for how long she's been in the academy and what she was taught. The fight didn't last long as Sakura collapsed due to her lack of stamina and she held up a white cloth which made Naruto chuckle a bit under his mask. I give up. Sakura said. So, you're not quite a genin level ninja yet, but you'll get there before we do our first mission out of the village. We need to work on your speed, stamina and help your chakra reserves grow. Your punches do have some power behind them, so we'll need to figure out a way to increase your speed while not lowering your power. Kushina said. I'm next. Menma yelled. Needless to say that Menma greatly disappointed Kushina with his skills despite being trained by her for a bit until she started going on missions again. She could tell he was trying to draw on the Nine Tails chakra while he fought and that he was mainly going after her. She gauged him at being just above Sakura in terms of skills and wondered how he was a taijutsu expert when all he did was swing wildly. His ninjutsu was sloppy as he couldn't use any of them properly. Narumi was after Menma and she kept both of them on their toes, mixing her ninjutsu with her taijutsu. Her wind and water chakra natures were really good for somebody of her stature, as well as her taijutsu, which was better than most genin. Kushina and Kakashi both had some difficulty taking out her shadow clones, since she could create an entire army while having them perfectly time their attacks. In all, she was as good as a mid-genin level ninja and could hold her own up to a low chunin level shinobi with her shadow clones helping. Sasuke was around the same level as Narumi, but just a bit better thanks to him being faster. As expected, his shuriken jutsu was fantastic, which he was able to use in cooperation with his phoenix flower jutsu. Sasuke only knew 2 fire ninjutsu, but he knew when and when not to use them, which was saying something about how good he will be when he gets stronger. Alright, not bad, Sasuke. Kushina said. Sasuke said and walked away. You're lucky I have a soft spot for you because of the Uchiha massacre. Kushina thought and her eye twitched. So, how'd I do? Pretty awesome, right? Menma asked. No. Quite frankly, you're not that better than Sakura, and that's saying something considering you were being trained by Minato, Jiraiya, myself and Kakashi. I know I went on missions again, but what I've seen from you is disappointing. Narumi, you're on par with Sasuke, with him being better only because of his speed, but what you lack with speed you make up for with power and accuracy. Your wind and water chakra natures are pretty good for somebody fresh out of the academy. Same goes for your fire chakra nature, Sasuke. Kushina said. I don't get it. If they were trained by the same people, how is Narumi better than Menma? Shouldn't they be on the same level? Sakura asked. We should be, but I stopped training with them when I was 8 and decided to ask Granny Tsunade for help personally due to me having the slug contract. Granted, I couldn't train with her every day thanks to her always having to travel, but she did leave behind material for me to learn from. I can't do medical ninjutsu or use her chakra enhanced strength, but she was able to teach me taijutsu, chakra control, and help with my ninjutsu. Mom went back on missions after she was medically cleared. Kakashi was back in the Anbu for a while and Dad was back in the office a lot after the Uchiha massacre. That left Pervy Sage to train us, and all he wanted to focus on was controlling the Nine Tails chakra. I got out of there the first chance I could get. He may be one of the legendary Sannin, but he jokes around a lot and does a lot of telling us what to do instead of showing us, since that's how he trained our father. While I am smart, I'm not even close to being near the level my dad was in terms of intelligence, and no offense Mom, but Menma has your level of intelligence based on the stories Granny Tsunade told me. Narumi said. Sheesh. She says no offense and then completely offends me. Kushina thought. I don't get it. Aren't all great shinobi supposed to be fantastic teachers? Sakura asked. Here's the thing you need to understand, Sakura. Just because somebody is a great shinobi, it doesn't really mean it'll translate over into being a great teacher. Kushina said. Are you a great teacher then? Sakura asked. I would say I'm pretty good. Kushina said. I wouldn't go that far. All you did was stress me and Narumi with chakra control. Menma said. Oh, do you realize how essential chakra control is? Kushina asked. Does it really matter? Menma asked. Menma, you can walk on water, walk up trees, and do so much more if you know how to properly use your chakra. You don't just wake up one day with chakra and decide to do it. It takes practice, and trust me, I know for a fact that Mom took it easy on us with our chakra control compared to what Granny Tsunade had me do. Narumi said. I have a ton of chakra. I can just use whatever jutsu I like. More chakra means the more powerful the jutsu has, and power goes a long way. It's the only thing that matters in this world. I want Konoha to be the strongest village, and in order for that to happen, you need to have power. Menma said. You sound like Danzo. Naruto said. I don't know who that is, but he sounds like a wise person if you ask me. Menma said. You don't understand how evil Danzo is, and the fact that you talk like this shows you have a higher chance of betraying this village for power just as much as Sasuke would. Naruto said. Menma, who put it through your thick skull that power is all that matters? Kushina asked. Nobody. It's a proven fact. The strong survive and the weak perish. Our village has never lost a war because we're strong and have power. We have 2 halves of the 9 tails in our village and others should fear us, but they don't. Menma said, all villages are powerful in their own way. Kakashi said, let me ask you this, Menma. If me or anybody else were to stand in your way, what would you do? Naruto asked, I'd do what I have to. Menma said, really? Do you think you could kill us? Naruto asked, without a doubt. It's what I've been trained to do. Menma said, have you ever someone killed before? Do you know what it's like to take another life? Naruto asked, no, but it's pretty easy. Menma said, how would you know if you've never done it before? Naruto asked, because Dad did it. Menma said, you think it was easy for Minato to kill people? Naruto asked, yes. He wiped out over 1,000 shinobi during the Third Ninja War and gave us the victory. Menma said, Menma, you don't understand how that affected your father. He didn't feel good having to wipe out over 1,000 shinobi from Iwa and he certainly didn't want to. It took him months to cope with the fact that he did that, and what finally got him to fully come around was the birth of his children. Taking life isn't easy and I never want to hear you speak like that again. Kushina said, really? Dad seems so level-headed. It doesn't seem like that got him down. Narumi said, it's true. While Konoha is a strong village, we also believe in ending things peacefully to limit bloodshed or not have any at all. Kushina said, so what if we have to spill a little blood? It shouldn't matter as long as we're still standing in the end. Menma said, and a kunai landed in front of him. Then do it. I'm standing in your way. Kill me. Naruto said and walked up to him. Naruto, stop. Kushina said, do it, Menma. I'm letting you know up front that if you show any signs of harming or betraying this village, I'll stop you myself. Besides, I should be easy for you to kill since you hate me with every fiber in your body. Do it, Naruto said, as he placed the kunai in Menma's hand and placed it at his neck. What are you doing? That's dangerous. Sakura said, and Naruto noticed Menma shaking. Do it, Naruto said, and Menma flinched. Stop. Kushina said and kicked the kunai out of Menma's hand. That's what I thought. You talk big, but can't back it up. Naruto said and left. Well, I guess training is done for the day. Kakashi said, you all pass. Menma, go home. The rest of you enjoy your day. Kushina said, Kushina-sensei, I was hoping we could go over some stuff for my training. Sakura said, I'll stop by your house in a few hours. Kushina said and vanished. Hokage office. Minato, we have a problem. Kushina yelled, as she appeared in the office. I'm kind of in the middle of an important meeting. Minato said as he pointed to elders Koharu and Homura. This is important. Kushina said, we can finish this later, Minato. Koharu said as she stood up. Yes. We still have months before the event, so we can put it off for now. Homura said, very well. Minato said, and they bowed before leaving. Sorry. Kushina said, it's alright. Now, what is so important that I had to end my meeting? Minato asked, your son. Kushina said, Naruto. What did he do? The Anbu haven't reported anything on him. Minato said, what Anbu? Kushina asked, I had some Anbu watch over Naruto after the Uchiha massacre. There's been a change in his attitude and I didn't want to take that risk. Minato said, well, you have the wrong son being watched by Anbu. Menma is the one we need to watch. Kushina said, there's no way it's Menma. Minato said, I just witnessed it. Kushina said, and then 2 Anbu members appeared in the room. We have a problem, Lord Hokage. One Anbu member said, what is it? Minato asked, our target should not be Naruto Uzumaki. Our target should be Menma Uzumaki Namikaze. He showed signs betraying the village even more than Sasuke Uchiha. Kat said, are you absolutely sure? Minato asked, yes. There are several witnesses to this and Lady Kushina is one of them. Bohr said, Minato. Naruto compared Menma to Danzo and Menma completely agreed with everything Naruto said. He has the same mindset as Danzo, believing that the other villages need to fear us and that power is the only thing that matters in this world. Kushina said, "How does Naruto know about Danzo?" Minato asked and Kushina destroyed his desk. "That's not the point." Kushina yelled. "Right. I just don't understand it. We've spent the past 13 years trying to keep Menma off of this path and he somehow managed to go down it." Minato said, "Maybe because he was constantly babied a lot and given everything he's wanted caused this." Kushina said and Minato sighed. "What about Naruto? Has he shown any signs over the last few years?" Minato asked. "None at all. He's the complete opposite of Menma, Lord Hokage." Boar said, "Cat, Boar, whenever Menma is in the village, I want you to tail him. Watch his every move and report back to me whatever you find out." Minato said, "Yes sir." Boar said, "What shall we do about Naruto?" Cat asked. "He's off the hook. Menma is our focus for now. I want you tailing him everywhere except the Uzumaki Namikaze estate. He'll be closely watched by Kushina and myself while we're there." Minato said, "Yes sir." Cat said and vanished with Boar. "I don't understand it. This whole time I've been under the assumption that Naruto needed to be watched." Minato said, "Well, you know what they say about people who assume stuff, right?" Kushina asked. "No. What do they say?" Minato asked. "They say you make an out of yourself." Kushina said and Minato hung his head. "I should probably apologize to Naruto about that then." Minato said, "I'm sure he understands. I mean it's not like he didn't know." Kushina said, "How'd he know?" Minato asked. "He's a sensor. One thing he's picked up from the Uzumaki clan aren't just the larger chakra reserves and powerful life force, but he has the mind's eye of the Kagura. Not many people achieve this ability in the Uzumaki clan, but he has it and he doesn't even have to concentrate to use it. It's like second nature to him." Kushina said, "Well, can you give me an in-depth assessment of his skills?" "There's nothing in his shinobi profile other than 100s of D-rank missions I had to approve of last night once he became a genin." Minato said, "I don't really know much. I mean he's extremely close to being a seal master and he can probably take on a jonin in Kenjutsu, but he doesn't have a sword that fits him yet. Other than that I have no idea what he's capable of, but I know for a fact that he's the strongest genin in the village." Kushina said, "Didn't you test him?" Minato asked. "I was going to, but then the situation with Menma happened." Kushina said, "Does anybody know how good he is?" Minato asked. "Maybe Danzo, but that's a huge maybe." Kushina said, "How would Danzo know about his skills?" Minato asked. "Danzo has been trying to manipulate Naruto over to his side ever since he was 5 and has been sending his root Anbu over to capture Naruto, but according to Naruto all of them were killed. At best I wouldn't put him no higher than a Chunin level shinobi if I had to guess." Kushina said, "It doesn't make sense though. If he was a Chunin level shinobi, there's no way he would have been able to take out any of Danzo's men. Something isn't right." Minato said, "We could always ask him." Kushina said, "Really? That's the best you can do? Just ask him." Minato asked and she shrugged. "He's pretty honest with me." Kushina said and Naruto appeared in the office. "Yo." Naruto said and they just looked at him. "Kakashi." Kushina thought, as her eye twitched. "What?" Naruto asked, as he turned a page in his book. We were just talking about you." Minato said, "Interesting." Naruto said, "Yeah, so, can you tell us how skilled you are?" Kushina asked. "Just jump right into the situation, huh?" Minato thought, "Sure, but I want them kept off record." Naruto said, "Why?" Minato asked. "Because there's been somebody sneaking into the shinobi files section and that reminds me. Your Anbu S if I can sneak past them as much as I do." Naruto said, "You admit that you sneak into the shinobi files office to the leader of the village." Minato said, "It's not like I have to do much. Anyway, somebody sneaks in and constantly looks through the shinobi files, mainly the clan heirs. I don't know why or what they're looking for, but you need to get better Anbu to watch that room." Naruto said, "Right. Anyway, how strong are you?" Minato asked. "I can take on any Chunin in this village." Naruto said. No, seriously. Kushina said. I'm being serious. You don't get trained by one of the best and not remember her teachings. I just upped the amount of time that I did my training, and thanks to Danzo sending his men after me, I gained battle experience since all of them came after me using different tactics. Naruto said. I'll keep it off the record, but I want you to spar with Might Guy. Minato said, and for the first time in his life, Naruto actually looked pissed. Absolutely not. Naruto said. Why not? Minato asked. He's annoying and I get enough of his springtime of youth talks when I do my morning run. Naruto said. Do you realize Guy wakes up before the sun comes up? Kushina asked. Yes. That's why I started running in the opposite direction to get away from him and his clone. Naruto said. Just do this. Minato said, and Naruto closed his book. Fine, but on one condition. Naruto said, and Minato sighed. What's that? Minato asked. I do only C and B rank missions with Mom while Kakashi handles the D rank missions. Naruto said. A team has to complete a certain amount of D rank missions for the first C rank mission. Minato said. I know you saw all of my D rank missions Makoto had me do, and don't deny it. Which reminds me, I want my pay. Naruto said. I'd give it to him, Minato. It's not like he's asking for some strong jutsus or anything. Besides, I'll be there to protect him should anything go wrong. Kushina said. You land one good hit on Might Guy and I'll give you the C rank mission nobody wants to take. Minato said. Deal. Naruto said. One more thing. Minato said. Yes. Naruto asked. How did you defeat Danzo's Anbu he sent after you? A Chunin wouldn't even be able to take out one of them. Minato said. All in due time, Minato. All in due time. Naruto said and vanished. Minato. Since when did he call me that? Minato asked. You never noticed? Kushina asked. No. Minato said. Yeah, I think he's called you by your name ever since he was maybe 5. Kushina said. Maybe I should say something to him about that. Minato said. It wouldn't do good for high-profile people to come around and hear your son call you by your actual name, but I think Naruto knows when and when not to use your actual name. Kushina said. Naruto. Naruto was walking around the village as usual reading his book when his wolf pup ran up to him and stood there. Naruto just looked until the wolf seemed to nod in one direction to the forest before taking off, making Naruto chase after him. They kept going until they were inside of the forest of death and in a wide open clearing. You had me follow you into the forest of death for what reason? Naruto asked, and then a puff of smoke went off revealing huge red-colored wolf with piercing yellow eyes. Because I wanted to meet you, Naruto. The wolf said. Who are you? Naruto asked and put his book away. I am the boss of the wolf summons, Angerboda. I am also the mother of your friend here, Fenrir. Angerboda said. Sup. Fenrir said. Sup. You mean to tell me this entire time you've been able to talk and only made noises at me? Naruto asked. Due to our previous candidate killing off one of our clan members, we have forbidden any of our clan members to talk to a human that I or one of our summoners have not deemed safe. Angerboda said. Besides, you've learned to understand what I was saying anyway. Fenrir said. I guess you have a point. So, what can I do for you? Naruto asked. Fenrir has been tasked with finding us a summoner for our clan and he has chosen you. He's kept up with your skills and reported back to us on a monthly basis over the past 8 years. I have gone over this with the elders of our clan and it has been agreed to offer you the wolf contract. Angerboda said, and a big red scroll appeared on the ground. So, I was being tested this entire time without even noticing. Naruto asked. Yes. It's been quite some time since we've had a summoner and you're the first person in many years to have been offered the contract. Angerboda said. So, I sign and then what? Naruto asked. Then we can begin your training in about 6 months as well as give you a gift courtesy of Fenrir. Angerboda said. A gift? What gift? Naruto asked. He said you were great at kenjutsu, but couldn't find any sword that felt right in your hands or able to take your dense chakra without breaking. He spent many years forging this sword for you and it has been ready, but he wanted to wait until you became a fully fledged ninja before giving it to you. Angerboda said, "You're embarrassing me," Fenrir said, and Naruto chuckled as he signed the contract. "For a wolf that looks evil, you sure did a lot for me." Naruto said, Yeah. Fenrir said, "Now that you have signed the contract, Fenrir will be your familiar, and as you can tell, he's not fit for battle just yet, but he can still join you on your morning runs to get his speed and stamina up." Angerboda said, "I think I'll pass. I don't want to run into the two green idiots again. They always try to run with us." Fenrir said, "I started to run the opposite way to avoid them and we only see them in passing." Naruto said, "Good." Fenrir said, "Naruto, here is your sword." Angerboda said, and the sword appeared on the ground. The sword was perfectly made and it was a katana, but it was different from the other katanas Naruto has come across. This katana had a steel blade that started off as a light blue color and got darker all the way to the tip of the sword. The handle of the sword was a straight handle with a wolf head at the end where the blade came out of its mouth and had a white lightning design going down the blade. The sheath for his sword was black with blue lightning designs all around it. Naruto picked it up and gave it a few practice swings before sheathing the sword. "Thanks, Fenrir. It's perfect." Naruto said, "I knew you'd like it." Fenrir said and puffed out his chest. "I do have a question." Naruto said, "Ask away." Angerboda said, "If he's been following me for 8 years, shouldn't he be bigger?" Naruto asked. "Fenrir is a late bloomer. However, I can sense a great power within him that's locked away until he grows. I've said this many times before and he doesn't believe me, but he may go down as the strongest wolf to ever come from our clan. Even surpassing myself." Angerboda said, "Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it." Fenrir said, "Come along, Fenrir. We must break the news of our newest summoner to the clan." Angerboda said, "See ya." Fenrir said, and they went up in smoke. "I guess I'll practice with the new sword a bit." Naruto said and turned around to block a kunai. "Good awareness, my little maelstrom." Anko said, "Can I help you?" Naruto asked. "Just wanted to see what all of the animals in the forest were scared shitless of, but I found the answer." Anko said, "I highly doubt the animals were that scared." Naruto said, "Oh, they were. So, what brings you out here?" Anko asked. "Just some training." Naruto said, "What a coincidence. I was just about to train as well." Anko said, "I said I wanted to train. Not end up in the hospital. Next time for sure." Naruto said, "You're no fun." Anko said and pulled out a book. "You actually read?" Naruto asked. "What's that supposed to mean?" Anko asked. "You're Anko Mitarashi. Reading isn't something you're actually known to do." Naruto said, "Well, this book has been flying off the shelves since it was released and it's pretty damn good. It's way better than the smut Jiraiya puts out." Anko said, and Naruto looked at the cover. "When did that book come out?" Naruto asked. "It came out last night. All of the stores are sold out already and some people have pre-ordered the second volume." Anko said, "You didn't pay attention to the cover, did you?" Naruto asked. "Why would I do that? You know I don't read often." Anko said, "Look at the name on the cover of the book." Naruto said, and Anko sighed before reading the name. "Bull-ing shit," Anko yelled, as she saw his name on the cover. "Thank you for the positive review." Naruto said, and she put the book in his face. "Sign it." Anko said and gave him a pen. "Fine." Naruto said and signed the book. "This is going straight on the wall after I read it." Anko said. "The wall?" Naruto asked. "The wall of my most precious items. I moved the spot I had for Orochimaru's head to a different spot." Anko said. "Right." Naruto said. "When's the second book coming?" Anko asked. "I don't know. I have to do it in between missions, but it's halfway done." Naruto said. "Can I get a sneak preview of the book?" Anko asked. "You didn't even finish that book. Finish that one and then we'll talk." Naruto said. "I'll hold you to it." Anko said and vanished. Later in the day, "I can't believe I'm doing this," Naruto said, as he was in the Chunin exam stadium for his spar with Might Guy. At least it's a private spar with only me and Minato watching. Kushina said. I know, but it's Might Guy. He's annoying. Naruto said. He's not that bad. Kushina said. Good afternoon, my youthful comrades. Guy yelled, as he arrived and Naruto looked at Kushina. You were saying? Naruto asked. At least the other one isn't here. Kushina said. Nice of you to join us, Guy. Minato said. Of course. You told me I would have a spar against someone freshly into their spring times of youth and I just couldn't pass up the opportunity. Guy said and did his signature pose. Did you actually say that? Kushina asked. Not even close. Anyway, your opponent will be Naruto. Minato said. Ah, yes. The oldest son of Lord Hokage. Guy said. Deep breaths, Naruto. Deep breaths. Naruto thought. Alright. This is a taijutsu only fight and it goes until I've seen enough. Minato said and both men got into their stances, but Guy didn't recognize Naruto's. I have never seen a stance like that before. Guy said. I know. Naruto said. Begin. Minato said. As soon as Minato said that, Guy quickly caught a fist that was an inch away from his gut and tossed Naruto over his shoulder. Guy quickly went on the offensive and Naruto was barely able to get out of the way from his attacks, which were a lot faster than what he was used to dealing with. Guy managed to catch Naruto, who barely got his guard up in time, and he was sent crashing into the wall of the stadium. Naruto appeared next to Guy, who raised his hand to catch a fist aimed at his face, but it was a feint as Naruto swung his leg and managed to knock Guy off balance, but missed the next kick aimed at his face since Guy quickly moved. Naruto went on the offensive while holding back a bit to study the way Guy moved as well as how he dodged. Naruto eventually figured out Guy's movements and habits, then upped his speed to his max and managed to punch Guy in the chest with a chakra-enhanced punch to the solar plexus. Guy came out of the wall and they both disappeared, continuing their taijutsu battle, which amazed Minato and Kushina. They knew Guy wasn't going all out, but they could tell Naruto was forcing him to use a lot more skill than he intended, and it showed as Guy was getting more into the fight. It was obvious Naruto was losing, but he was avoiding taking serious damage, managing to only gain a few scrapes and some torn clothes. Guy went for a kick to Naruto's ribs, but Naruto caught his legs and used chakra to throw him away. Both men got into their respective stances and were about to continue until Minato spoke up. That's enough, Minato said, and they did the unison sign. He's good, Kushina said. A very youthful taijutsu style, Naruto. What is the name of it? Guy asked. I honestly don't know the name of it. Naruto said. Whatever it is, I've never seen such movements before. Guy said. Naruto, you can leave now. Minato said. Later. Naruto said and vanished. So, how'd he do? Minato asked. Better than I expected. During our spar, he held back when he went on the offensive. Guy said. He's still holding back? Kushina asked. No, he purposely held back to study my movements, habits, and how I defended myself. I didn't realize it until he managed to connect with a punch to my solar plexus. Guy said. Where would you put him taijutsu-wise? Minato asked. It depends. Guy said. On what? Minato asked. He has resistance seals on his body and he never deactivated them. While he was going all out, that was just him going all out while being heavily restricted. I'd put him on par with Neji, but without his resistance seals he could probably take on a freshly minted Jonin. Guy said. Thanks, Guy. I appreciate this, and don't say a word about this spar to anybody. Minato said. Yosh. Guy said and quickly left. Should we do a ninjutsu test next? Minato asked and Kushina just looked at him. You really want to do a ninjutsu test on an Uzumaki? Kushina asked. You're right. So we know he's good at taijutsu, kenjutsu, genjutsu, and I'm going to take a wild guess to say he's good at ninjutsu. I know it's not fair, but maybe I should just promote him to Chunin. Minato said. No. Kushina said. What do you mean? Minato asked. He lacks field experience. Sure, he has fighting experience, but he doesn't know the first thing about leading a team or anything of that nature. Just let him go on a few missions like you said and have him compete in the Chunin exams. Over the next 6 months just send him out on some C and B ranked missions with me. I'll teach him everything he needs to know about becoming a Chunin and get him ready for promotion. Kushina said, and Minato thought about it for a while. Tomorrow I want the both of you to come to my office around 10 a.m. for that mission. Minato said. 10. Why so late compared to other escort missions? Kushina asked. It's the preferred time the client asked for you all to leave. Minato said. We'll be there. Kushina said. Next day, Team 7 were all at Training Ground 7 for their first official day as Ninja and Menma kept going on about all of the awesome stuff he was going to do. Of course everyone was ignoring him, but all of them were annoyed except for Naruto, who sat up high in a tree catching up on some sleep. Good morning guys, Kakashi said, as he arrived with Kushina. Sup? Naruto said, as he appeared with the group. What's on the agenda for today? Saving a princess. Taking out some bandits. Securing a secret jutsu. Menma asked. Neither. Today, we're doing a team bonding exercise since we couldn't do it yesterday. Kakashi said. Menma, Narumi, Sasuke and Sakura. All of you will be doing the team bonding exercise with Kakashi during some missions we have both selected for you, and you have a limited time frame to get them done. Kushina said. Aren't you forgetting Naruto? Sakura asked. No. Naruto is needed for something else and I have to go with him. Kushina said. Come along you four. We have a lot of D-rank missions to do. Kakashi said. Ha, loser. We get to go out on missions while you're stuck being a mommy's boy. Menma said. Yeah, you have fun with those missions. Naruto said. Kakashi, they're all yours until we get back. Kushina said and vanished with Naruto. Missions office. We're here. Kushina said. Great. Our guest just arrived. Takiwa, I'd like for you to meet Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze and Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Minato said. It's an honor to meet the both of you. Takiwa said and bowed. Likewise. Kushina said. Same, but for the record it's just Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto said. Of course. Takiwa said. These two will be your escorts back to the Nadeshiko village. Minato said. No offense, but are you sure? Naruto here looks like he just graduated from the academy. Takiwa said. That's because I did. Naruto said. Trust me, Takiwa, he wouldn't be on this mission if he weren't capable of doing it. Your mission is pretty simple. You are to escort her back to her village unharmed and help take out a group of bandits that are trying to raid the village. Minato said. Do we kill them or just hand them over to the village? Naruto asked. Kill them. According to Takiwa, this isn't the first time they've done this and they keep coming back with more help. Minato said. You're the boss. Naruto said. This mission should take you about 3 weeks to complete. You're dismissed. Minato said. Alright, Naruto, pack for a 3 weeks long mission and meet us at the gate. Kushina said. I'm already packed. My ninja pouch has little storage seals on them with clothes and water. Naruto said. Well, I guess we're going now. Is that okay with you, Takiwa? Kushina asked. Of course. Takiwa said and stared at Naruto. Stop staring at me. It's weird. Naruto said and left. Sorry, but he has a thing about people staring at him. Kushina said. It's quite alright. Takiwa said. Well, let's hit the road. Kushina said. Mission. Naruto, Takiwa and Kushina were running through the trees of the Konoha forest to arrive at the dock in the Land of Waves where they would catch a boat to take them to the Nadeshiko village. So, Takiwa, why'd you come all the way to Konoha for help? Wouldn't it be easier to ask one of the surrounding villages? Naruto asked. While we could have done that, the surrounding villages wanted too much from us that we simply couldn't afford at the moment, and I had some business with Jiraiya of the Sannin, but he was not in the village. Takiwa said. Mind if I ask what business it was? Kushina asked. Not at all. In the Nadeshiko village, women from out village must go outside of the village to find men strong enough to defeat us, resulting in them being taken to the village to marry the kunoichi they defeated. Jiraiya postponed the match with the former leader of our village and they agreed that their students should finish the battle for them. I was there to ask him who his student was so they could do battle. Takiwa said, well, Jiraiya's student happens to be my husband so the challenge is off. Actually, this is the first time I've heard about this and I highly doubt Minato even knows about it. Kushina said, actually, that's not true. Naruto said, Jiraiya has another student. Takiwa asked, yeah, and I highly doubt you'll want him anywhere near your village. It's my younger brother, Menma Uzumaki Namikaze. Naruto said, I forgot he was Jiraiya's student since he signed the road contract. Kushina said, I've met this Menma you speak of and I was not fond of him. No offense, Kushina. Takiwa said, none taken. So, how are we going to settle this? You clearly know Menma isn't right for whoever this student is. Kushina said and Takiwa looked at Naruto. Don't even think about it. I'm not even his student. Naruto said, if she were to challenge you then you really have no choice but to fight her. We're very persistent women. Takiwa said, then it's a fight I'll lose on purpose. I'm not marrying anybody if it's not genuine love. So you and your village laws can kiss my, Naruto said and Takiwa blinked. Sorry. Naruto, apologize. Kushina said, why? You were thinking the same thing. It's a village filled with women and she hasn't told us what happens should the child be a male if it's born. This village clearly wants women only inside the village which makes me not even want to step foot into the damn place. Naruto said and Kushina looked at Takiwa. What happens if the baby is male? Kushina asked. We don't know. So far every child born has been female. The men are usually kicked out because they let their perverseness take over and try to wed multiple women from our village. Takiwa said, am I even allowed in this village? Naruto asked. Yes, but you will undoubtedly be stared at all the time. Takiwa said, I'll just camp outside the village. Naruto said, no, you're coming into the village and that's final. Kushina said, fine, but I want you to make it clear that nobody is to stare at me and nobody is to challenge me while I'm there since this is a mission I'm on. Naruto said, I'll mention it to the village leader. Takiwa said, it's better than nothing I suppose. Naruto said and went back to reading his book as they were jumping through the trees. How is he able to read while jumping through trees? Takiwa asked. No idea, but he does it somehow. Anyway, we're past the halfway point already to the land of waves. Are you okay with stopping for rest or would you like to keep going? Kushina asked. We can keep going. There should be one last boat that leaves in a few hours and that's the last one for about 3 days. Takiwa said, alright, Naruto, we're upping the speed. Kushina said and Naruto just nodded as he was keeping up with them still. He's fast. Takiwa thought. Nadeshiko village. After traveling all the way to the land of waves in a day and getting on a boat for 3 days, Naruto, Kushina and Takiwa finally arrived at Nadeshiko village. The village was not how Naruto was expecting it to look at all. The village itself is positioned on 3 lightly forested, massive and steep hills standing in a line with 2 bridges between them. The hills are situated within a lush forested valley in a mountainous region. In terms of construction, the village seems to be similar to a stronghold or palace, with numerous walls, towers and brickwork being dominant features. Welcome to Nadeshiko village. Takiwa said, it's not what I was honestly expecting. I was thinking something a lot smaller than this. Kushina said, we get that a lot. This way please. We'll go to the leader of the village to introduce you and tell her about Naruto's request. Takiwa said, of course. Kushina said and they followed her to a building. Lady Ajisai, I have returned. Takiwa said, as she bowed and an elderly lady appeared. Yes, and who might these two be? Ajisai asked. Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze and Naruto Uzumaki. They are my escorts and the help the Hokage has sent to deal with the bandits. Takiwa said, I see. Thank you for escorting her back to the village. Ajisai said, no problem. Kushina said, Milady, Naruto has a request he wants fulfilled unless he'll leave the village. Takiwa said, let me hear it. Ajisai said, "Tell the women in this village to not stare at me and nobody is to challenge me for marriage. I don't like being stared at and I'll only marry somebody I actually love." Naruto said, "I will make the announcement. However, we have a girl here around your age who may or may not follow you around and try to fight you. She's always looking to test her strength and since you're a complete stranger, you would be her primary target." Ajisai said, "Right. You sell dango here?" Naruto asked. "Yes. We have a dango shop here." Ajisai said, "Sweet." Naruto said and left. "Sorry about him. First mission out of the village." Kushina said, "Is he capable of handling himself?" Ajisai asked. "Yes. We had him tested by one of the top jonin in our village and he even said Naruto was stronger than his entire team who have been going on missions as well as training into the ground every day for an entire year." Kushina said, "Very well. Takiwa, quickly spread word of Naruto's request please. I don't want any issues to occur during his stay." Ajisai said, "Of course." Takiwa said and left. "Lady Ajisai, may I make a request?" Kushina asked. "Of course. It's only fair that I give you one." Ajisai said, "It's in regards to your student challenging Jiraiya's student." Kushina said, "Takiwa must have told you about that. I'm listening." Ajisai said, "Well, one of Jiraiya's students happens to be my husband and I can already guess that this girl you warned Naruto about is your student. The thing is with recent discoveries about Jiraiya's other student who happens to be one of my children, I think it's best that you call off the challenge." Kushina said and Takiwa returned. "Lady Ajisai, I have spread the word." Takiwa said, "Thank you. Now, Takiwa, Kushina has requested that I end this challenge with Master Jiraiya over our students fighting. Do you agree with this assessment?" Ajisai asked. "Yes. Minato Namikaze is married to Kushina and her son Menma Uzumaki Namikaze who happens to be Jiraiya's other student, is not someone we should risk leading the village. I've met this Menma Uzumaki Namikaze and he is not someone to be trusted." Takiwa said, "I'll take it into consideration and you'll have my answer by the time you leave." Ajisai said, "Of course." Kushina said, "Naruto." While he was walking around the village, Naruto was looking for the dango shop and he wasn't too surprised that people were staring at him. However, after time went by, people stopped staring at him and he was thankful that he could read in peace. He eventually found the dango shop and waited for his food which arrived quicker than he thought it would. As he was eating, he felt a chakra signature trying to creep up on him and he sighed. "You don't have to sneak up on me. You can have a seat." Naruto said, "How do you know I was there?" A girl asked, as she sat down. "You at hiding your chakra signature." Naruto said and ate some dango without taking his mask off. "How do you do that?" the girl asked. "Years of practice." "You got a name?" Naruto asked. "I'm Shizuka." Shizuka said. "Naruto." Naruto said, "So, you're the one who had a request to not be stared at and challenged for marriage." Shizuka said, "That's right. Dango." Naruto asked and offered her one. "Sure. So, what brings you here anyway?" Shizuka asked. "I'm here to help take out the bandits that keep attacking." Naruto said, "How? No offense, but you look like you just graduated like me." Shizuka said, "I did, but I'm a lot more skilled than most chunin in my village." Naruto said, "Are you the only one they sent? These bandits aren't strong, but they travel in large groups." Shizuka said, "It's me and one of my jonin instructors." Naruto said, "That's it? Just two people?" Shizuka asked. "Two people who can turn themselves into an entire army if they needed to." Naruto said, "I'll believe it when I see it." Shizuka said, "Suit yourself." Naruto said and summoned Fenrir. "Yo." Fenrir said and then looked at Shizuka. "Is that a dog?" Shizuka asked and Fenrir started howling at her. "She already heard you talk." Naruto said, "Right. I am not a dog. I am a wolf. Have you ever seen a dog with blood-red eyes?" "No." Fenrir said, "Calm down." Naruto said, "Why'd you summon me anyway?" Fenrir asked. "I bought dango." Naruto said, "Awesome." Fenrir said and started to eat some. "So, Naruto, Care for a spar after you're done? Shizuka asked. No, Naruto said and she pouted. Why not? Shizuka asked. Because I don't want to. Besides, we don't know when the bandits will attack, so I don't want to get distracted. Naruto said, and then a toad appeared. This is your summons as well? Shizuka asked. No. What do you want? Naruto asked. Minato has sent over 4 more C-rank delivery missions. The details are in this scroll. The toad said and coughed up a scroll before leaving. As if he couldn't just give these to us before we left. Naruto said, and then an alarm went off in the village. They're here, Shizuka said. All right, time to dance. Naruto said and vanished in a swirl of flames. Cool, Shizuka said. Nadeshiko gates. Open up. We know you're in there. A bandit yelled, as he banged on the gate. This could have gone so easily the last couple of times had you just given us what we wanted. Another bandit yelled. We even brought the boss with us this time to show you we ain't playing around anymore. A bandit yelled and Naruto appeared in front of them. Did you need something? Naruto asked. A kid? Who do they think we are? A bandit asked. A bunch of weaklings who are nothing more than an annoyance. Naruto said. Get him. A bandit yelled and Naruto sighed. Why can't you guys just fall in love like normal people? Naruto asked. Naruto ducked out of the way from a sword, taking his head off and unsealed 2 kunai, one from each of his hands, then jumped into the middle of the bandits. Naruto quickly started to take out the bandits one by one since they were really weak and he guessed they only had strength in numbers, preferring quantity over quality. Kushina, Takiwa and Shizuka arrived at the fight to help along with other members of the village, but they saw he had it under control. After taking out majority of the bandits, Naruto jumped back while going through hand signs to use the earth style, devouring earth jutsu to control the stones as well as the rocks in the area to attack the bandits, forming several enormous jaws made out of the earth that swallowed and crushed the bandits. He resealed his kunai and sighed. You could have helped. Naruto said. You had it under control. Kushina said. Hey. A voice said. Naruto said. Who are you? Takiwa asked. The leader of these worthless bandits. I am Reihio, as I demand to have a battle with the student of the leader of this village. Reihio said. You do realize that the student you're talking about is a 13-year-old girl, right? Kushina asked. As long as she's a ninja, she's an adult. I can wait a few years for her to mature before I have my fun. Reihio said and then screamed when he felt a certain body part removed. That's my son, Kushina thought, as she secretly praised him. You really should go around bragging about being a pedophile, and especially not in front of me. Let me check the bingo book. Your name sounds familiar. Ah, here you are. Reihio of the Sand. Became a missing nin after being caught for kidnapping and raping little kids in his village. Was rejected the rank of genin due to his behavior and only goes after children. You have a bounty for a couple thousand on your head, and all I have to do is show proof of your head to the nearest bounty office. Naruto said and raised his sword. Have mercy. Reihio yelled. Sorry, but you don't get mercy from me, especially since I know you like to rape kids. Naruto said and swiftly removed his head from his body, making Shizuka puke. So, I guess that's it. Kushina said. We've been dealing with them for so long and actually didn't realize that they had such little forces left. I apologize for wasting your time. Takiwa said. It's fine. This mission is mainly for him to gain experience anyway. That, and I see Shizuka has taken a liking to him. Kushina said, as they watched Shizuka talk to Naruto with a huge blush since he took his mask off. I can't believe my mask was ripped. Naruto said. I can fix it for you if you'd like. Shizuka said. Really? Thanks. Naruto said and gave her the mask. Would you like some tea while you wait? Shizuka asked and he shrugged. Sure. Naruto said and she grabbed his hand, leading him away. Should I set up a fight between them? Takiwa asked. No, I'd say just let it happen naturally. Kushina said, as she watched them go back into the village. I suppose we should clean up before it gets too late. Takiwa said. I am not touching that. Kushina said, as she pointed to the male anatomy on the ground. Naruto and Shizuka, you were really awesome back there. Shizuka said, thanks. Naruto said, why do you wear a mask anyway? Shizuka asked, keeps me from breathing in smoke or dust and it's comfortable. Naruto said, do you always wear a mask? Like everywhere you go? Shizuka asked, no, I take it off at home. Naruto said, I can see why only when you're at home. You're very handsome. Shizuka said, thanks. You're pretty cute yourself. Naruto said and her face turned red. Thank you. So, why do you and your mother have different last names? Shizuka asked. I was banished from the Namikaze clan after my younger brother was chosen for clan heir for reasons I'm not allowed to speak of. My younger sister was also named clan heir for the Uzumaki clan, but an Uzumaki can never be kicked out of the clan if they are passed over for clan heir. Naruto said, do you even care? Shizuka asked. Not at all. I never really cared about being a clan heir, I just wanted to live my life and do what I wanted. Naruto said, what are your dreams for the future? My sensei asks me this all the time. Shizuka said, establish peace, fall in love and have a family. Maybe travel the world and see what else is out there. What about you? Naruto asked. My dream is to find a man that loves me for me and not because of my village laws to easily take power from us. I just hate how we have to go out and find somebody who is stronger than us to have a family. It doesn't make sense at all. Like what if I fall in love with somebody who isn't a fighter? That would mean I can't marry him and I'll be stuck in a loveless marriage. Shizuka said, have you ever thought about throwing the fight if you ever find the man you want to marry and he is weaker than you? Naruto asked. It's against the law. We must fight to our fullest capabilities in order to be certain and there will always be somebody watching the fight. Shizuka said. That's. Naruto said, maybe you can help me. I challenge you and lose, which is believable. We get married and change the rules of my village. Shizuka said, I would, but I'm not a fan of the whole arranged marriage or fake marriage thing. Naruto said, then what do I do? Shizuka asked, well, you could always request to transfer to another village and get away from your village law. I mean, it's not ideal to run away from your problems, but sometimes your happiness is more important, and if you're close with the village leader, she might let you do it. Naruto said, maybe, but I highly doubt it. Here, all done. Shizuka said and he just put another mask on. You can keep it. Naruto said and her jaw dropped. If you had one, then why did you make me fix this one? Shizuka asked. I didn't make you do anything. You offered to fix it and I agreed. You could have easily chosen not to do that. Naruto said. Few days later, Kushina and Naruto stayed at the Nadeshiko village for a few extra days to help take out more bandits that would attack the village. Kushina made Naruto lead the way to give him a bit of experience in the field, and he was impressive his first few times with minor mistakes. During that time, Kushina noticed he spent every day with Shizuka to the point where it was weird seeing them not together in the village. The women in the village also took note of Shizuka always being around Naruto and took the time to tease her about it, making her blush every single time. The women in the village also chose not to challenge Naruto to a fight because he was too young for most of them, and the rest of them didn't want to deal with an angry Shizuka. Alright, time to head out and finish these last few missions. Lady Agisai, Takiwa and Shizuka. It was an honor to meet you. Kushina said and bowed. Likewise. Takiwa said, I cannot thank you enough for all you've done to help us get rid of those bandits for good. I made sure to give a nice detailed report for you. Agisai said, thank you. Ready to go? Kushina asked. Let's do it. Naruto said and was pulled into a bone-crushing hug by Shizuka. You better write a letter or something to me or I'll find you and kick your, Shizuka said and Naruto chuckled. That will never happen, but I'll see what I can do. Naruto said and they separated. If you're done hugging your girlfriend now, I'd like to catch that boat so we don't have to wait another day for the next one. Kushina said and Shizuka turned bright red. Way to ruin the moment, sensei. Naruto said and walked away. Don't take that tone of voice with me. I heard the sarcasm in your voice. Kushina said and walked next to him, making Shizuka sigh. What's the matter, Shizuka? Ajisai asked. There goes my friend. Shizuka said. You care about him, huh? Takiwa asked. Yeah, I feel funny whenever he's around. Not in a bad way, but a good way. It's weird, Shizuka said, and they looked at each other. Shizuka, that is called love. Asijai said. Really? Shizuka asked. Yes. Ajisai said. Even if it is love, it doesn't matter anyway. Shizuka said. Why doesn't it matter? Ajisai asked. Because I have to fight Jiraiya's student, and that's why it doesn't matter. He won't even accept my challenge for his hand in marriage. He said he's not a fan of fake marriages or arranged marriages. Shizuka said. Actually, you don't have to fight Jiraiya's student for marriage. Certain circumstances have come up and the fight has been called off. Asijai said. So now I have to go look for somebody else to defeat me and be trapped in a loveless marriage? Shizuka asked. Not necessarily. Asijai said, and Takiwa pulled out a bag. What's this? Shizuka asked. This is a bag with all of your stuff in it. Takiwa said. You're kicking me out? Shizuka asked. No. The most important thing to me other than this village is your happiness, and I know you are against the laws of the village. I've been in contact with the Hokage over the past few days, and he has agreed to let you join the Hidden Leaf Village if you want to. I've been around many years and I can tell that you are meant to be with Naruto. The choice is yours. Ajisai said and pulled out a Konoha headband. Really? Shizuka asked. Yes. Kushina has even vouched for you as well, and they'll have an apartment set up for you if you choose to join their village. Ajisai said. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Shizuka said and put the Konoha headband on. Go get them. You can still catch up to them. Ajisai said, and Shizuka gave both of them a hug. Thank you. I promise I'll write as soon as I can. Shizuka said and took off running. Think Naruto will return her feelings? Takiwa asked. Absolutely. I've seen the way he let down his guard around her when they talked, and according to Kushina, that's the most he's ever spoken to somebody other than herself. Ajisai said. Boat. Huh? Naruto asked. That's right. Shizuka is officially a genin of the Hidden Leaf Village. Kushina said. Aren't you excited? Shizuka asked. I guess. Naruto said and pulled out a book. Come on. Show a little emotion. We can be together forever. Shizuka said. I don't know. Forever sounds like a long time. Naruto said, and she started to chase him around the boat. Are you kidding me? Do not play with me, Naruto Uzumaki. Shizuka yelled. Yup. This is going to be very interesting. Kushina said. Tell me about it. Naruto said. She's chasing a clone, isn't she? Kushina asked. Yup. I wonder how long it'll take her to figure that out. Naruto said. Since we've got a moment, where'd you get that sword? Kushina asked. Oh right. I didn't tell you about this, but that wolf pup is actually my summons now, and he made it for me. The lightning is for my lightning chakra nature. Naruto said. You have 2 chakra natures? Kushina asked. 3. Earth, fire and lightning, with lightning being my strongest. Naruto said. So, where's the wolf pup now? Kushina asked. His name is Fenrir and he's back at his summoning world. Naruto said. You mean to tell me all those times he stole my food he knew what he was doing? Kushina asked. Not really. He's a slow grower, and I highly doubt he actually knew it rude to take your food since you did leave it unattended. Anyway, he should be full size in a couple of years, and if his mom is right, he'll be even bigger than her. Naruto said. It's a wolf. I don't think he'll be that big. Kushina said. The forest of death was barely able to cover his mother when I first met her, and that's saying something given how big those trees are. Naruto said. That's a big wolf. Kushina said. I know. Naruto said. Anyway, back to your skills. Given everything I know so far and from what I've seen, you're clearly stronger than a Chunin. Maybe Jonin by now. Kushina said. Well, I wouldn't know. All of the root Anbu I've dealt with were Chunin level shinobi based off of what I've seen from the village, and I only look at the best Chunin we have. I just figured that I was a Chunin level ninja. Naruto said, you can take on a Jonin with Kenjutsu, 3 chakra natures, Taijutsu on par with a Hyuga who has been training longer than you. Genjutsu is clearly something you're good at. Gonna guess your Shuriken Jutsu is great since Makoto trained you, and your Fuinjutsu can put almost everyone in this village other than myself, Jiraiya, and your father to shame. You are also wearing resistance seals. I just listed all of that and you seriously thought you were a Chunin level shinobi? Kushina asked. I'm only 13 and I forgot about the resistance seals. Give me some slack, Naruto said, and he was tackled. Gotcha. Shizuka yelled and Naruto went up in smoke. Nope. You got a shadow clone, again. Nice try, Naruto said and helped her up. Shizuka, I was just going over Naruto's skills and I was curious as to how strong you are. Kushina said, not close to his level. I mean, I know some Shuriken Jutsu, Taijutsu and Ninjutsu. I know my chakra nature and that's about it. Shizuka said, what's your chakra nature? Kushina asked. Wind. I know 2 wind ninjutsu, but that's about it so far. Shizuka said, that's fine. You'll be training with us from now on, so I know you'll get stronger. You'll even be prepared for the Chunin exams once they come around. Kushina said, Chunin exams? Is Naruto competing in the Chunin exams? Shizuka asked. Oh, he has no choice. Kushina said, there goes a field promotion. Naruto mumbled, will the people there like me? I mean, I'm basically new. Shizuka said, you'll be fine. Now, since you're with me and Naruto, you get to complete 4C rank delivery missions with us. They're pretty simple since all of them are in the Land of Fire. One is in Shukuba town and the other 3 are in Tanzaku quarters. Shouldn't take us longer than a week to complete these and then we go to Konoha. Kushina said, this doesn't mean I have to do D-rank missions now that she's here, does it? Naruto asked. No, Shizuka, you'll have to stay with the rest of the team to complete D-rank missions before you officially can do C-rank missions. Kushina said, what's a D-rank mission? We didn't have those in Nadeshiko. Shizuka said, it's dog walking, grocery shopping, cleaning the Inuzuka clan kennels, painting fences, picking weeds and a lot more shit that people besides the elderly can do by themselves, but they're too damn lazy to do it. Naruto said, and Kushina popped him upside the head. Hey, Kushina said, what? That's how Makoto said you described it, and it's kind of hypocritical to hit me for doing the same thing you did. Naruto said, do as I say and not as I do. Kushina said, I did as you said. Those were the words you said. Naruto said, and Kushina's eye twitched. Smartass. Kushina said, aw man, that sounds so boring. I don't want to do that. Shizuka said, sorry, but those are the rules. You need to complete at least 20 of them before going out on a C rank mission, and given our team, that might take a while. Team 7 has a chemistry problem, so they have to do lots of team bonding exercises. Kushina said, aw man, how much have you done, Naruto? Shizuka asked. I've done over 100 D-rank missions before I became a genin because I was technically someone's apprentice before things happened. Which reminds me, Minato still hasn't paid me my money for those missions. Naruto said, you do realize that's a lot of money, right? Kushina asked. Yes, and the money will go towards my ninja supplies. Naruto said, how much stuff do you order? Kushina asked. It's a lot. I ordered chakra conducting ninja tools for me to use and they cost more. Naruto said, that's right. Where do you get them from? Kushina asked. That girl with the 2 buns in her head dragged me in her father's store to buy something so she could leave and told me they made chakra conducting ninja tools. Naruto said, excuse me, what about me? Shizuka asked. Sheesh. The temper on her is ridiculous. Feel bad for whoever ends up with her in the future. Kushina thought, and Naruto felt a shiver go down his spine. The hell was that about? I never shiver. Naruto thought. We'll talk about this later. Anyway, 20 D ranks and then you can do a C rank mission. Kushina said. Don't worry. I know a secret way to complete them quickly. Naruto said. How? Tell me. Shizuka said and shook him. Easy. I can make plenty of shadow clones and have them turn into you. When you go to the missions office, just grab 20 missions which they'll let you do because they just keep piling up and then we get all 20 done by the end of the day. Naruto said. That's cheating. Shizuka said. It's not against the rules. I mean technically you need a team member to help you with the D-rank mission and that's what I'm doing. Naruto said. I wish I thought of that. Kushina said. 2 weeks later. Naruto, Kushina and Shizuka spent the last 2 weeks doing their C-rank delivery missions and it only took an extra week because Kushina wanted to take a vacation of sorts. Naruto was the lead on the C ranks which he didn't mind since he was able to tell Kushina what to do and what child wouldn't want to boss their parents around. Shizuka was just happy to see the land of fire for the first time and visit the nice spots she's heard of from the other women back in Nadeshiko. We're back, Kushina said, as they entered Minato's office. 2 weeks. It should have taken you a week at most to complete the extra missions. What happened? Minato asked. Well, since we have a new shinobi joining our village who isn't used to being around the land of fire's environment, we had to go slower than usual to make sure she didn't trigger any traps we have laid around. We also had to wait a few days to deliver one of our packages because one of the people we were looking for decided to go out for a vacation and we all know you hate when missions get returned incomplete. Naruto said. Is that true, Kushina? Minato asked. Absolutely. Kushina said and when Minato closed his eyes she discreetly gave Naruto a fist bump. Okay. I'll have your pay sent to you by the end of the day. Minato said. Mine better include the pay for all of my D-rank missions I did before becoming a genin. Naruto said. It will. You didn't realize it, but that's about 7 million ryo you were getting back. Minato said. Sweet. Naruto said. Now, Shizuka, everything is set for you to start being a ninja for this village. Just do your best, that's all I ask. Minato said. I will. Shizuka said. Here is the address for your new apartment and the key as well. Minato said, as he handed it to her. Niece. Come on, Naruto. Let's go see my apartment and then you can take me shopping. I need new clothes. Shizuka said and walked out. Why do I have to take her shopping? Naruto asked. Hurry up. Shizuka yelled. I'd go if I were you. Yelling is just the beginning. Kushina said. Don't make me repeat myself. Shizuka yelled. Shut up or I won't take you. Naruto yelled and then it was silent. Bad move. Minato thought and Shizuka walked back into the office glaring at Naruto. Care to repeat that? Shizuka asked. Yeah, I said shut up or I won't take you. I know you heard me and I am not joking around. Naruto said. You wouldn't do that to me, would you? Shizuka asked and gave him the puppy dog look. She's got him now. Minato thought. He's done for. That look never fails. Kushina thought. Yes, I would. Naruto said and walked away reading a book. Why didn't that work? It always works. Shizuka said and even Kushina was stunned. She's right. It always works. Kushina thought. I have just witnessed history. For the first time in my life, the puppy dog eyes failed to work. Wait until I tell Shuza, Inoichi and Shikaku about this. Minato thought. You better go after him. He's hard to track down once you lose him. Kushina said and Shizuka ran out of the room. She's the one who was supposed to challenge Menma. Minato asked. Yup. Your sensei has some explaining to do. Speaking of Menma, how's he been? Kushina asked. Bad. Team 7 fails all D ranks missions which is literally impossible thanks to him. It's been an entire month and they've only completed 2 D rank missions. Minato said. How many did they attempt to do? Kushina asked. 15 and the 13 failures were because of Menma berating the client. Sasuke at least does the missions and complains after they're done. Sakura complains while doing them because she's basically like Ino and Narumi just doesn't care what the mission is since it's one step closer to becoming Hokage. I'm still not seeing how he turned out like this. I mean we did everything we could to prevent this. Minato said. What have the Anbu discovered? Kushina asked. He treats everybody like that and civilians are pushing for him to be suspended, which I don't have a choice to do now. Minato said. How long is the suspension? Kushina asked. It's still 30 days for the first suspension. Minato said. He hates Naruto, believes power is the only thing that matters and he's disobedient to those in power if it's not him. I can honestly see why Naruto compared him to Danzo. Kushina said. Do you think the Nine Tails chakra is causing this? Minato asked. No. The Nine Tails chakra has to be active in order for that to happen since it feeds on negative emotions. I think this is just how Menma is. Kushina said. I'll deal with it tomorrow. You can go home and I'll be there later tonight. Minato said. Sure. What do you want for dinner? Kushina asked. I'll eat whatever you cook. Minato said and Kushina left. 3 months passed since Naruto became an official ninja and things were sort of on the up for him. He mainly did C and B rank missions with Kushina or Kakashi since they would rotate out with one another. His leadership earned him the captain of Team 7, which he really didn't want since he knew only 2 people would actually listen, being Narumi and Shizuka. While he was captain, he was in charge of D-rank mission assignments given out, so he tried to be fair with the assignments, but he couldn't make everybody happy. Under his leadership, Team 7 was able to complete the 20 recommended D-rank missions while Menma was suspended, but their teamwork still ed mainly due to Sasuke not wanting to work with anybody and Sakura usually following him in what he does. Training-wise he didn't do as much as he wanted to because he was paired up with helping Shizuka get up to speed on everything. He was mainly showing her around the village and letting her know people to avoid, mainly Danzo. He also told her about the clans Konoha had and where they stayed. Shizuka saw an increase in her skills training with Kushina or Naruto and it was better than she thought. While she was stronger than Sakura and Menma, she wasn't as strong as Narumi or Sasuke. Her taijutsu increased, her speed increased, her ninjutsu arsenal grew a bit and her shuriken jutsu was only second to Naruto. While she knew just 2 wind jutsus before, she now knew 5 of them and used them to boost the power of her shuriken jutsu. She was able to break out of some B-rank genjutsu and cast only up to AC rank genjutsu, which she rarely uses. While Naruto wasn't out on missions or with his team, you could usually find him talking with Shizuka, and most people found it odd how the new girl was able to get close to him while not understanding that they always isolated him from everything. Shizuka herself could really only get along with Narumi, and that's mainly because she would also hang out with her and Naruto. Kiba was always drooling over Shizuka because she was a lot more developed in the chest area than every girl their age and would constantly ask her out for a date, but she'd reject him. Sakura and Ino were annoying fangirls which she couldn't stand, so she kept her distance whenever they were around since all they talked about was Sasuke, which led to an argument all the time. Shikamaru was too lazy for her to even have a conversation with, and Choji spat food on her once while they were talking because he couldn't stop eating for 2 seconds, resulting in her nearly killing him. She didn't talk to Shino because he creeped her out. Hinata was a different story and she had the feeling that the shy Hyuga didn't like her. Sasuke and Menma were both the worst in her opinion. Both of them were arrogant, only wanted power, and while Sasuke wasn't like this, Menma basically claimed her as his to help rebuild the Namikaze clan, which she quickly pointed out couldn't be reborn because it was never a clan until Minato became Hokage. Alright, guys. That's it for the day. Kakashi said. You did better than last time, I guess, but your teamwork needs improvement. It can't be Naruto, Narumi and Shizuka always working together only for you 3 to mess it up. Kushina said. This is pointless anyway. What good is teamwork when half the team doesn't even get along? We might as well be a separate team. Narumi said. Yeah, even after my first day I could tell this wouldn't work. Shizuka said, as she had her head resting on Naruto's lap. Sorry, but we have to stick together. There's only 10 teams and this year all teams managed to pass their initiation test. Kakashi said. However, I did some thinking and I've come up with a solution. We'll do a C rank mission each and go from there. We'll split the team up into 2 groups. I'll take Menma, Sasuke and Sakura out for a C rank mission while Kakashi takes the others. Kushina said. Yes. It's about time I get to show off my skills. Menma said, can't show off what you don't have. Sasuke said, you wanna go right now? Menma yelled, it's pointless. Sasuke said, see, even Sasuke notices my skills. He's too afraid to fight me. Menma said, it's pointless because it would be a waste of my time fighting a weakling such as yourself. Beating you does nothing for me and won't help me get to him. Sasuke said, and Menma went to attack Sasuke, but Kushina held him down with her chakra chains. I hope this mission idea fixes Menma. Kushina thought. What mission are we doing tomorrow, Kakashi? Shizuka asked. We'll figure one out tomorrow. Kakashi said, shouldn't we all stick together on our first C-rank mission? Sakura asked. That's what we're doing. You, Menma, Narumi and Sasuke have never been on a C-rank mission, but we want to keep the teams even, so Narumi will go with them. Kushina said. Sounds fair to me. Shizuka said. Nobody asked you. Sakura said. Nobody asked for you to have an annoying voice, yet you do. Shizuka said. Naruto, how do you feel about all of this? You are the team captain after all. Kakashi said. I don't really care. Naruto said, as he was writing. That wouldn't happen to be what I think it is it? Kakashi asked. If you're talking about the second volume, then yes it is. Naruto said. How much for an early copy? Kakashi asked. Just go to the bookstore and sign up for the early release. Last time I checked there were only 3 spots left. Naruto said. He's already gone. Shizuka said. Of course he is. Naruto said. Alright. Training is over and we will do our missions tomorrow. Meet us here at 8 a.m. Enjoy the rest of your day. Kushina said. Later. Menma said and left. Narumi, I'm headed to grab Ino for lunch. Wanna come with? Sakura asked. Can't. I promised Hinata I'd hang out with her today. Narumi said. Oh, maybe next time then. Sakura said, as they left as Sasuke just walked away. So, lovebirds, what do you two have planned for the rest of the day? Kushina asked and Shizuka still blushed. I need to get some new kunai and shuriken. Shizuka said, this is what happens when you spend your money on pointless items instead of what you need. Naruto said, shush. Maybe I'll get some trench knives like that chainsmoker I saw a few weeks ago. Shizuka said and Kushina laughed. You mean Asuma? Kushina asked. Yeah, him. Shizuka said. What about you, Naruto? Kushina asked. I want to show you and Minato something that I discovered last week. Naruto said and then Minato appeared. Okay. I'm here. What was so important that you needed to show me? Minato asked. Follow me. I'll see you later, Shizuka. Naruto said and they vanished. Unknown area. Where are we? Kushina asked. Just be quiet and completely hide your chakra signature. Naruto said and they did. I've never seen this part of Konoha before. Minato said. That's because it's protected by a powerful genjutsu seal that I can't find. Naruto said and stopped walking. What is it? Kushina asked. Look. Naruto said. Minato and Kushina looked up to see Menma training vigorously, showing skills nobody knows about. They were amazed at how good he actually was, but his skills held a dark secret that only Naruto knew. He recognized Menma's fighting style as soon as he saw it, and now they have a huge problem on their hands. They watched Menma train for about 2 hours before they all left. Hokage office. I can't believe it. That's Menma. Minato asked. He's good. He's just as good as Sasuke and Narumi. Kushina said. You obviously showed us that for a reason. What was it? Minato asked. You don't recognize those movements, do you? Naruto asked. No. I've never seen them before. Minato said. They look a bit familiar to me, but I don't know why. Kushina said. The reason they look so familiar to you is because Menma is being trained by Danzo. Naruto said. Impossible. Menma doesn't even know Danzo. Minato said. The proof is right in front of you. I know that fighting style anywhere since I've been dealing with Root Anbu for years and they all fought the same. Naruto said. Let's say I believe you. Why would Danzo go after Menma? Minato asked. Because of him. Kushina said and pointed at Naruto. Exactly. Danzo knew he couldn't get me to join him, so his root Anbu changed how they came after me. It was no longer to capture me, it was to kill me. Menma was the easier target and Danzo got to him. Their ideals are the exact same and Menma has always hinted that he just wants power since he was a little kid. Naruto said, "So, what do we do now?" Kushina asked. "He hasn't exactly done anything wrong. We can't just confront him about this either." Minato said, "That's not true. You ever wondered why your Anbu kept ending up in the hospital that were sent to tail him? He knew they were following him and ordered the root Anbu that are always close to him to take them out. I'm the one taking them to the hospital." Naruto said, "What should I do?" Minato asked. "Give him what he wants the most besides power." Naruto said, "What's that?" Minato asked. "Me. He clearly wants me dead and wants it bad." Naruto said, "No, I am not doing that. It's too dangerous with the 9 tails inside of him. You're strong, but the 9 tails chakra is something else." Minato said, "I can handle the 9 tails chakra." Naruto said, "Your Fuinjutsu isn't at that level yet, Naruto." Kushina said, "I'm not talking about a seal." Naruto said, "Then how? Without a seal or Kushina's chains, you don't stand a chance." Minato said, "Yes I do." Naruto said and revealed his Sharingan. "What? How?" Minato and Kushina yelled. "A combination of the 9 tails and Makoto. Makoto gave me a blood transfusion when I was 5 after being beaten in an alley and the 9 tails used what little power he had to change my DNA around a bit and gifted me with the chance to unlock the Sharingan. Coincidentally, it unlocked when I unlocked my chakra on our 5th birthday. Nobody knows I have it except for you two." Naruto said, "You have the Sharingan." Minato said, "I know." Naruto said, "That's how you defeated the root Anbu." Kushina said, "Exactly, but Danzo doesn't know about my Sharingan because every root Anbu he sent after me never made it back alive." Naruto said, "Okay. We'll talk about that more later. The only way you and Menma will even fight is at the Chunin exams and that's a hard maybe. Everything is random in the Chunin exams." Minato said, "There's also the chance he could throw the Chunin exams as well." Kushina said, "Then give me a mission." Naruto said, "What mission?" Minato asked. "The moment he slips up or tries to betray the village, I'll take him out." Naruto said and Kushina gasped. Minato. "No." Kushina said and Minato sighed. "Is this really the only way?" Minato asked. "Yes, and deep down you know that. I get that he's my brother and everything, but come on. He openly showed signs of being able to betray the village if he was given the opportunity." Naruto said, "Minato, please." Kushina said, "I won't make my decision now. I'll have to see what his actions are first before I do anything. There's still a chance he can turn around and stop his madness. Until then we all act normal." Minato said, "You're the boss." Naruto said and vanished. Next day. "Alright, Team 7 reporting for duty. Hurry up and give us a C rank mission." Menma said and Minato just stared at him. Lord Hokage." Sakura said, as Minato was silent. "Minato." Kushina yelled. Oh, sorry, just had a lot on my mind." "What kind of mission are you looking for again?" Minato asked. "I'm taking Menma, Sakura and Sasuke out on a C rank mission. Something simple." Kushina said and Minato nodded. "Here you go. An escort mission to Tanaka village. You have an hour to meet the client at the gate." Minato said and Kushina nodded. "Alright you three. Get ready for a 2-week mission and be at the gate in 45 minutes." Kushina said and they left. "Kakashi, what will you do?" Minato asked. Another C rank for them as well." Kakashi said. "Very well. I'll give you an escort mission as well. Send in the client." Minato said and then a drunk man came into the room. "What the? Well, if it isn't Naruto." The man said. "Of course you'd show up drunk, Tazuna." Naruto said. "You know each other?" Kakashi asked. "Yeah. Bumped into him on our way to Nadeshiko. Had to catch a boat from Wave to get there." "How's the bridge going?" Naruto asked. "Slow. Lost a few workers, but I'm going to finish that bridge no matter what." Tazuna said, I see. Naruto said, I'm Tazuna as you heard and I must return to my country. I expect you to get me there safely. Tazuna said, this is just an escort mission to Wave and shouldn't take longer than 2 weeks. If you have any problems, Narumi knows how to contact me. Minato said, Konoha Forest. Say, Mr. Tazuna. Narumi asked, what is it? Tazuna asked, your country is the land of waves, right? Narumi asked, yeah, what of it? Tazuna asked, there are ninja in that country too, right? Narumi asked and Kakashi spoke up. No, there are no ninja in the land of waves. In other countries there are hidden villages each with their own customs and cultures where ninja reside. Kakashi said, like where I'm from. Sure Nadeshiko is an all-woman village, but there are ninja there to protect the village and help out other smaller villages. Shizuka said, exactly. On this continent, shinobi villages mean strength, military strength. In other words, that's how they protect themselves and maintain the balance of power with neighboring countries. The ninja villages aren't controlled by any government. They're independent and have equal status. Now a small island like the Land of Waves has natural protection from the sea, so there's no need for a ninja village. Kakashi said, so then we won't have to fight anybody since the Land of Waves is technically neutral, I guess you can say. Narumi said, correct. There are no ninja battles in C-rank missions like this one, so you can relax. Kakashi say, we're not going to run into any foreign enemy ninja or anything like that, right? Narumi asked, not likely. Kakashi said, Tazuna is just a regular old man who builds bridges and fixes things for a living. It would be a waste of time really if any ninja were to come after him. Shizuka said, as they passed a puddle on the ground. What? Kakashi asked, as 2 men jumped out and tied him up with chains before ripping him to pieces. Now it's your turn. One of them said. Narumi and Shizuka both froze up as the 2 men ran at them. Naruto acted quickly and took them out with ease. One was stabbed through the heart and the other had his head removed from his shoulders. That's when Kakashi appeared and looked around. You could have left one alive to interrogate. Kakashi said, I thought you died, Kakashi-sensei. Narumi said, nope. Substitution jutsu. Now why were they after us? Kakashi asked and looked at Tazuna. You might as well tell him, Tazuna. Naruto said, let's get to the small boat that will take us to Wave first and then I'll tell you everything. Tazuna said, boat. This fog is so thick. You can't see anything. Narumi said, the bridge isn't far now. Our destination's just ahead. The boat rower said and then they saw a huge bridge. Whoa. Is that the bridge you're building? Narumi asked. Yup. Tazuna said, it's huge. Narumi said, alright, Tazuna, talk. Kakashi said, the one who is after my life is a very short man who casts a very long and deadly shadow. Tazuna said, who is it? Kakashi asked. You know him. At least, I'm sure you've heard his name before. He's one of the wealthiest men in the world. The shipping magnate, Gato. Tazuna said, huh, Gato. Of Gato Transport. He's a business leader. Everyone knows him. Kakashi said, who is that? Shizuka asked. Gato is a very powerful tycoon from a famous shipping company, but with the same ruthless methods he uses to take over businesses and nations, he sells drugs and contraband using gangs and ninja. It was 1 year ago when Gato first set his sight on the Land of Waves. He used his vast wealth to take total control of our transport and shipping. Anyone who tried to stand in his way simply disappeared. In an island nation, a man who controls the sea controls everything. Finance, government, even our very lives, but there's one thing he fears, the bridge. When it is complete it will join us to the land and that will break his control. I am the bridge builder. Tazuna said, since you're in charge of the bridge, you're standing in his way. Then that also means those ninjas from the forest were working for Gato. Shizuka said, I don't understand. If you knew he was dangerous, knew he'd send ninja to eliminate you, why did you hide that from us? Kakashi asked. Because he couldn't afford anything higher than AC rank mission. The land of waves is a dump now thanks to Gato, and he's bleeding them dry of all their money. If they can't ship out their goods or receive anything because of him, then this is what happens. The land of waves was already small to begin with, and adding somebody like Gato into the mix just spells disaster. Naruto said, "Is that true?" Kakashi asked. "Yes. It's so bad that even the nobles have very little money and the people helping with the bridge can't afford an A or B ranked mission. It's too expensive. If you drop me off at shore and decide to end the mission, they will assassinate me before I get home, but don't worry about that. Of course my sweet little grandson will be upset. He'll cry." Tazuna said, "Enough with trying to guilt trip us. We're still doing the mission." Naruto said, "Yeah, we'll kick this guys," Shizuka said, and they arrived at the dock. "That's as far as I go. Good luck." The boatman said, "Right. Thank you for taking such a risk." Tazuna said, "Just be careful." The man said, "Okay. Take me home." Tazuna said, "Right." Kakashi said, "The next ninja they send won't be Chunin, they'll be Jonin, elite ninja with deadly skills. While Naruto is fully capable of handling himself, I worry about Shizuka and Narumi." Kakashi thought, and they kept walking. No wonder the demon brothers failed their mission and never returned. It's the copy ninja from the Hidden Leaf Village. Sharingan Kakashi. A man in the trees thought before vanishing. "Get down." Kakashi yelled, and everyone ducked except Naruto as a giant sword embedded itself inside of a tree. The Kubikiribocho. Zabuza Momochi. Naruto thought, "Who is this guy?" Narumi thought, "Hey, watch where you're throwing your sword. You almost took my head off." Shizuka said, "That was the general idea, Shizuka." Zabuza Momochi. "Nice to meet you in person." Naruto said, "I see the little kid did his homework." Zabuza said, "It's not hard to figure out who you are. You're the only person that walks around carrying a big sword on your back." Naruto said and unsealed his sword. "Naruto, get back. He's not like those other ninja. He's in a whole other league and you're not ready to face someone like him just yet. If he's our opponent, I'll need this." Kakashi said and grabbed his headband. Sharingan Kakashi. "Did I get that right? It's too bad, huh? You'll have to hand over the old man." Zabuza said, "Not going to happen. You three, triangle formation. Protect the bridge builder and stay out of this fight. It's time you use your teamwork." Kakashi said and revealed his Sharingan eye. "Well, looks like I get to see the Sharingan in action. This is an honor." Zabuza said, "What's the Sharingan?" Shizuka asked. "It's the Kekkei Genkei of the Uchiha clan and one of the most powerful Kekkei Genkei known to man. It resides in the eyes. It's a dojutsu that can instantly see and comprehend any genjutsu, ninjutsu, or taijutsu and allows you to come up with the perfect counter before the attack hits. It can also analyze an opponent's technique and then copy it to the smallest detail." Naruto said, "You got it right, boy. As for you, Jonin. In the assassination unit of the Hidden Mist, we had a standing order to destroy you on sight. Your profile was in our bingo book. It called you the man who copied over 1,000 jutsu. Copy ninja, Kakashi." Zabuza said, "What? Over 1,000 jutsus? That's insane." Narumi said, "Enough talk. I need to exterminate the old man now." Zabuza said, "Sorry, but that's not going to happen." Kakashi said, "So I'll have to eliminate you first, Kakashi." "So be it." Zabuza said and then appeared on the water. "He's over there on the water." Narumi said, "Ninja art. Hidden mist jutsu." A thick layer of mist that nobody could see through appeared around the area and Zabuza pretty much disappeared. Naruto knew exactly where he was, but he also found someone else hiding in the tree. Narumi was barely able to Shizuka and signaled for them to blow away the mist, so they both used the wind style. Great breakthrough. The mist was gone, but everyone noticed Naruto was also gone and thought Zabuza got to him. The person up in the tree was looking around and reached for something until a kunai was at their throat. "Don't even think about it," Naruto said and noticed the person was wearing a hunter ninja outfit. "You're interfering with my mission to kill Zabuza." The ninja said. I sensed the two of you together long before we even got here. Naruto said and kicked the ninja out of the tree towards the others. What the? Who is that? Shizuka asked. A hidden mist hunter ninja. Kakashi said. No. Whoever this is, works with Zabuza. I sensed both of them together before we got here, and whoever this is, must be Zabuza's backup in case things go wrong. Naruto said, and Zabuza gritted his teeth. This kid was able to sense us miles away. That's impossible. I know for a fact that our chakra signatures were completely hidden. Zabuza thought. Hey, kid, what's your name? Zabuza asked. Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto said. We're leaving. Zabuza said. Huh, why? The hunter ninja asked. Dealing with Kakashi is bad enough, and it would take everything I've got to defeat him, or we'd both possibly die at the end of our battle. That kid is clearly at your level of skill and possibly better. We need to regroup and come up with another plan. Zabuza said, and they both vanished. Huh, Narumi said. What was that? Shizuka asked. That was a smart ninja logically thinking about the situation. Let's get to Tazuna's house quickly. Kakashi said. Tazuna's home. Tsunami. I'm back. Tazuna said. A woman with long blue-colored hair came rushing to the door and gave him a hug. She wore a short-sleeved pink shirt with the end of the sleeves and the collar being red. She also was wearing a long blue skirt. I was so worried, father. I thought Gato and his men got to you. Tsunami said. Almost, but once this new guy saw Naruto, he took his partner and ran away. They'll be back, but I'm sure these ninja can handle them. Tazuna said. Why are you lying to them? Nobody can defeat Gato. He's too powerful. They'll just get killed. A little boy said. Inari, these are ninjas who protected me to get back home. Tazuna said. I'm going for a walk. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Naruto said. Where are you going? Kakashi asked. I'm going to end this tonight. Naruto said. Shouldn't we all go with you then? Shizuka asked. No, because I'm about to make a deal. Naruto said. With who? Kakashi asked. Zabuza and his friend. Naruto said. What? Everyone yelled. There's no way Zabuza is working with someone like Gato unless he's supposed to get something in return, which most likely is money, and I know for a fact that Zabuza probably charges a lot. There's no way somebody like Gato would even think about paying Zabuza. I'm sure I can match whatever Zabuza is owed and possibly offer him more to take out Gato and his goons with me. Naruto said. You'll need backup. Kakashi said. No offense, but it'll go easier if I go alone. That way he won't think I'm setting him up or we're there to attack him. Naruto said, and Kakashi sighed. You have until morning to report back or we're coming to look for you. Kakashi said. Gato might be dead by then. Naruto said and vanished. Forest. Naruto was running through the forest with his chakra signature hidden on his way to where he felt Zabuza's chakra, and along the way, he'd take out bandits attacking villagers. Each of their deaths were quick, and he told the people he saved to tell the rest of the village that Gato would be dead by the morning. When he finally reached the area, he felt Zabuza's chakra, and he simply walked inside the hideout to see Zabuza sitting on a couch. Zabuza. Naruto said and dodged some Senbon needles. You've got a lot of guts coming here by yourself, kid. You know I can easily kill you. Zabuza said. I know, and that's why I came by myself to show that I'm not here for a fight. Naruto said. How'd you even find this place? The hunter nin asked. I can sense chakra signatures over a vast distance, and you didn't exactly try to hide yours. Naruto said. What do you want? Zabuza asked. I'm here to make a deal with you. How much is Gato supposed to pay you for killing the bridge builder? Naruto asked. What makes you think I'm doing this for money? Zabuza asked. Because I know you'd never work for him willingly, and you're a mercenary ninja. Naruto said. He's paying me 3 million ryo to kill him. Zabuza said. I'll pay you double to help me take him out along with his other bandits and guards. Naruto said. You really expect me to believe you have 6 million ryo to give me? Forget it, kid. Zabuza said, and Naruto unsealed 5 huge bags of money from a scroll. That's 3 million right there. Help me out and you'll get the other 3 when we're finished along with whatever you want from his hideout. Naruto said. Haku, what do you think? Zabuza asked. We need to see the full payment. Haku said, and Naruto unsealed more money. Do we have a deal? Naruto asked, and Zabuza thought about it. Who else is coming? Zabuza asked. Just us 3. The others here would have caused things to be too tense for this to be a simple job. Naruto said. Let's move out. Zabuza said, and all of them vanished. Gato's hideout. It was a normal relaxing night at Gato's hideout, with him counting his money and letting his men have fun with the women they took from the village, but they weren't having any luck because the women remained strong and kept fighting them off. Everyone was drunk and enjoying themselves inside, but outside was a completely different story. While they were standing guard, mist started to form around to the point where they couldn't see anything, and then one by one each of the 20 guards outside the hideout met their deaths. The mist cleared out, revealing Naruto, Zabuza and Haku standing over the dead bodies. Remember the plan? Naruto said. Yeah. Go in, kill the bandits inside, free the women and kill Gato. After that we raid the building before you blow it up. Zabuza said. Let's do it. Naruto said and kicked the door in. Hey, who are you? A bandit asked. You're death. Zabuza said. Get him. A bandit yelled. All hell broke loose as Zabuza jumped into action, cutting anything moving with the Kubikiribocho, and Naruto wasn't too far behind him with his own sword. Haku meanwhile stood back and provided long-distance help by taking out bandits with accurate Senbon made of ice to instantly kill them. Eventually more and more bandits came until they were all dead. Haku, go free the prisoners. Me and Naruto will handle the rest. Zabuza said. Of course. Haku said and left. Ready to kill him? Zabuza asked as they found Gato's office. Sure. Naruto said, and Zabuza cut the door down. What the hell? Zabuza, what are you doing? Gato asked. Ending your life. Zabuza said and pointed his sword at his neck. First, I want you to sign your company over to me right now. Naruto said and used a Sharingan genjutsu to control him. Anything you say. Gato said and signed the company over to Naruto. He's all yours, Zabuza. Naruto said, and Zabuza swiftly removed Gato's head. That felt so good. Zabuza said, and Naruto cut open a safe filled with money as well as weapons. He had all of this, and I guarantee he didn't know what to do with any of it. Naruto said. The people can have the money. I just want the weapons and jutsu scrolls. Zabuza said. You don't want the money. Why not? Naruto asked. 6 million ryo is more than enough for the cause. Zabuza said. What cause? Naruto asked. The civil war in the Hidden Mist Village. It's between those with a Kekkei Genkei and those without one, also called the Loyalists. They are loyal to the 4th Mizukage and agree that all Kekkei Genkei users should be killed. I'm supporting the rebellion army with the help of a lady by the name of Mei Terumi, and I was only made into a rogue ninja because the day I was going to kill the Mizukage, someone told him of my plan and I had no choice other than to flee. That's when I met Haku, and together we were doing jobs to raise money to help fund our cause. Keep this information to yourself. Zabuza said. Of course, and if your side ever needs help, send a message to the Hokage and I'll help. Naruto said. That won't be necessary. Zabuza said, and they started to separate through the jutsus. What the hell was he going to do with ice, boil and lava ninjutsu scrolls? Naruto asked. I'll take those. Haku uses ice ninjutsu and Mei Terumi uses boil as well as lava ninjutsu. Zabuza said and took them. Seal them up in this. It's the scroll with your money in it. Naruto said and tossed him a scroll. Thanks. Here, take this. Zabuza said and tossed him a large scroll. What is it? Naruto asked. It's a rare form of earth ninjutsu called Crystal Release. If your earth chakra nature is strong enough, you should be able to manipulate the crystals in the ground. I saw you using earth ninjutsu outside, so don't look too surprised. Zabuza said, and Haku met up with them. Everyone is out of the hideout. They were mainly women and some of them had children with them. Haku said. Then it's a good thing everyone here is dead. Naruto said. as he sealed up all of the money. Let's get out of here, Zabuza said, and they left. Village. It was early in the morning for the people who were still sleeping when all of a sudden a huge explosion was heard and everyone woke up. They met on the incomplete bridge and saw that Gato's hideout was going up in flames. Kakashi, Narumi and Shizuka were standing in front of everyone waiting for whoever blew up the hideout. Eventually they saw Naruto returning with everyone that was taken from the village carrying something in his hand. He stopped in front of the group gathered on the bridge and Kakashi spoke up. Well, how'd it go? Kakashi asked. I come with multiple gifts, but a huge one for all of the people of Wave, Naruto said and tossed Gato's head on the ground. We're free. We're free, Tazuna yelled and the people of Wave started celebrating. Where's Zabuza and his partner? Kakashi asked. They're gone. They went about their business. Oh, and before I forget, Tazuna. Here, Naruto said and tossed him a large scroll. What is it? Tazuna asked. All the money from Gato's safe, Naruto said and released a pulse of chakra making the money come out. That's a lot of money, Shizuka said. I know. I wish I went on that heist now, Narumi said. With this money and Gato gone, we'll be back on our feet by the end of the year. Tazuna said. I'm not that skilled, but I have a bit of medical knowledge so I can check on the women who were being held captive. Naruto said. I can't thank you enough for this, Naruto. How can I ever repay you? Tazuna asked. You can pay me back by finishing this bridge, Naruto said. We'll get started first thing tomorrow. Today we celebrate, Tazuna said and everyone cheered. 2 weeks later, the people of Wave along with the help of Team 7 finished the bridge and even built a statue of Naruto, Zabuza and Haku in the center of the village. They were dubbed the heroes of Wave and the bridge was called the Hero Bridge. When Team 7 weren't helping on the bridge, they were usually training with Kakashi in the forest with the exception of Naruto who was looking over the women Haku rescued from Gato's hideout. Once again I can't thank you all enough for the amount of help and freeing us of Gato's tyranny, Tazuna said, as they were all on the bridge. Don't mention it, Kakashi said. Bye Naruto. A group of Naruto's fangirls yelled. Oh, see ya, Naruto said and they just all gave him a group hug. We're going to miss you, a girl said. I think I need medical attention one more time, a girl said. No I do. No me. Hey, back off, Shizuka said and pulled Naruto away from the girls. That was interesting, Naruto said. You just had to take the mask off, showing them your handsome face. I should be the only one seeing that face. Shizuka mumbled to herself the last part as she walked away. Alright you three, let's head out. We can make it back in a week since we no longer have a civilian with us, Kakashi said. See you later, Tazuna, Narumi said. Konoha -1 week later. Kakashi and Team 7 reporting in. Kakashi said as they were in front of Minato. We're back, Kushina said, as she entered the room. Mom, you missed it. It was so cool, Narumi said. What happened? Kushina asked. Well, the guy lied about this being a C-rank mission, but he was poor and couldn't afford anything higher and he had some guy named Gato wanting him dead. Then we were attacked by 2 rogue ninja, but Naruto killed both of them before I could even blink. Then we ran into Zabuza Momochi from the mist and almost fought him, but Naruto stopped him after he found out about his partner and they fled, Narumi said. You ran into Zabuza? Minato asked. Yes, Kakashi said. Anyway, we finally get to Wave and this place is a dump. I mean it looks worse than Menma's room and that's saying something. So, we get there and then Naruto has the bright idea to team up with Zabuza to take out Gato and free Wave. Then in the early morning hours, we all heard a loud explosion only to see Gato's mansion in flames and I mean this thing had to have a ton of paper bombs in it, you know. So Naruto comes back and he's followed by all the women that Gato took from the village. After that Naruto tossed Gato's head on the ground like a real badass and the village named him a hero. Well, not just him, Zabuza and his partner were named heroes as well. They even made a statue of them in the middle of the village, and then Naruto gave them back all of the money Gato had in his safe. Then we just helped finish the bridge they were building and trained a bit. Narumi said. I can see why she gets along with Ino now. Kushina thought. Yeah, that's what happened on the mission. Kakashi said. You teamed up with Zabuza and his accomplice to take out Gato. Minato asked. Yup. It was pretty easy actually. Just offered to pay Zabuza double the money Gato was going to pay him, and the rest is history. Naruto said. Aw man. Our mission ed compared to that. All we did was fight some bandits and only survived because Kushina-sensei helped us. I mean, I guess Sasuke unlocking his Sharingan is good for the team. Sakura said. Oh, and there's one more thing. Naruto said. What? Minato asked. I'm the owner of Gato's transport. Naruto said. How'd you manage to do that? Kushina asked. He signed the company over to me before Zabuza cut his head off. I took the liberties of canceling the contracts with all his illegal business partners since the company was under new management. Naruto said. You mean to tell me that a 13-year-old is the owner of one of the biggest shipping companies out there? Kushina asked. Yup. Naruto said and showed proof. That's awesome. Your first Team C rank mission was way better than mine. Kushina said, and Minato rubbed his temples. Why is this weakling getting all of the praise? I did good on my mission as well. Menma thought and glared at Naruto. Anyway, just sign here and you will own the company. I don't feel like dealing with all of that. Naruto said. You're signing the company over to the village? Minato asked. No, I'm signing the company over to you. I don't trust certain people in this village. If it's for free use of the village, then many illegal dealing will be done in private, and that's not how I want this to be. Naruto said. I can't sign it. I'm the Hokage, and once my signature is on that paper, then it becomes owned by the village. Minato said, and Kushina signed it instead. There. I own it now. Kushina said. Right. Moving on. How was your mission, Kushina? Minato asked. We barely completed it. Kushina said. Yeah, and it's Menma's fault for not following directions when Kushina-sensei said to keep your voice down and not make any noise at all. Not even a peep. This loudmouth almost got us killed. Sakura said. You're alive, aren't you? Menma asked. Thanks to Kushina-sensei. Sakura said. That's enough. Kushina said. Everyone is dismissed except Kushina and Naruto. Minato said, and everyone left. Hang on. Naruto said and threw 5 kunai into the ceiling, making 5 root anbu fall to the ground. More root anbu. Too bad they always burst into flames after they're killed. Kushina said, as she saw them go up in flames, and Minato sealed the room. How was the mission with Menma? Minato asked, and Kushina sighed. He definitely tried to get us all killed on purpose. There's no way a genin would accidentally set off a paper bomb during a stealth mission and not have any wounds. Kushina said. How'd he do? Minato asked. He led his group of bandits away and came back with his clothes cut up, but the cut marks weren't from them. They were from his own kunai. These bandits used blunt objects only, and he came back like he had to really try. When we were camping, I checked the area he was in, and there wasn't a single body or sign of a fight at all. I tracked the bandits down to a small house and finished them off. Kushina said, and Minato sighed. Kushina, you know what I have to do. Minato said. I know, but just give me some time to try and fix him. If he's not better by the Chunin exams, you can give Naruto the mission whenever you want. Kushina said. It won't be to kill him. We can't risk the 9 tails getting out. Minato said. We don't have to. Let's just take the 9 tails out of him to prevent that from happening if he has to be killed. Naruto said. Removing the 9 tails would kill him. Minato said. Not if you know what you're doing. I found something interesting in Gato's safe that belongs to Konoha. Naruto said. What is it? Minato asked, and Naruto unsealed a giant scroll. Secret Uzumaki Fuinjutsu techniques. I don't know how he came into possession of them, but they couldn't get the scroll open. I opened it and found out that Mito Uzumaki was looking for a way to successfully remove a tailed beast without killing the host. Whoever Ashina Uzumaki is left notes in here about how everything belonging to the Uzumaki clan was sealed into this scroll and hopes Konoha finds it. Naruto said, "Let me see that." Kushina said and opened the scroll. "It's so much, but I've never heard of this Ashina Uzumaki." Minato said, "He was the leader of the Uzumaki clan back when Hashirama Senju was making Konoha allies with Uzushiogakure. He's also my great-great-grandfather." Kushina said, "Wow." Naruto said, "That seal you were talking about combines the healing properties of medical ninjutsu using natural energy, and it's a slow process which takes 10 hours to fully do since it just transfers the tailed beast to another seal." Kushina said, "The question is, should we take the 9 tails from Menma now or not?" Minato asked, "We'd need him to go to sleep for 10 hours, but he doesn't sleep a lot." Kushina said, "I can put him to sleep with a Sharingan Genjutsu." Naruto said, "How long does it last?" Minato asked, "Well, he won't be asleep per se. It's more like putting him inside of a coma. That or when he falls asleep you can put a stasis seal on him to trick his body into staying asleep longer." Naruto said, "I like the second option better." Kushina said, "We will remove the 9 tails tonight. I just can't take that risk with him, especially after this incident on the mission." Minato said, "Fine. Naruto, that means you're staying at our house tonight." Kushina said, "Why do I have to be there?" Naruto asked, "He doesn't live with us anymore." Minato asked, "Because you're the best sensor in the village and you'll be able to tell if anything is wrong or if anybody is close to us that shouldn't be. As for you Minato, he moved out a month after he became a genin despite me telling him to stay." Kushina said, "It's not like you don't know where I live anyway." Naruto said, "We're getting off track. What else did you find in Gato's vault?" Minato asked, "Some jutsus which Zabuza took most of, weapons and a journal on all of his illegal businesses. He was a sick individual." Naruto said, "How?" Minato asked and Naruto tossed him the journal. "Read page 10. Naruto said and Minato started to read. "Is this his journal for real?" Minato asked. "Yup." Naruto said, "What is it?" Kushina asked. "Gato has been working with Orochimaru on kidnapping children for his twisted experiments." Minato said, "There's one more thing that I suggest we act fast on in that journal." Naruto said, "What's that?" Kushina asked. "On page 11 he talks about a girl with red hair from Kusa who has the ability to heal people by just having them bite her and how Orochimaru is desperately trying to get his hands on her, but she's always closely guarded. It says she's not really a citizen of Kusa since she was never registered in their system, so they're basically keeping her hostage. He mapped out her movements and when she left the village. She should be leaving to the outskirts of the east side of the village in 4 days and that's the perfect chance to take her." Naruto said, "You're telling me that there's one more member of the Uzumaki clan out there?" Kushina asked. "Yeah, and if you want her then we need to go tomorrow. She won't be there for long." Naruto said, "Minato, I'm going to get that girl." Kushina said and he sighed. "If we do, we need to be smart about this. Stealth is an absolute must, right? I'll allow you to do the mission, but leave at night so you have a better chance at not being spotted." Minato said, "We leave tomorrow night. It'll give us an extra day to set up the trap to grab her." Kushina said and Minato unsealed the room. "You two are dismissed." Minato said. Naruto left the office and went to pack for his trip to Kusa. While he knew this was a dangerous mission, he knew more than anything that Kushina wanted the Uzumaki clan together in one village and this girl would help a lot even if she didn't want to be a ninja. After a couple of hours at his apartment, Naruto left and went to the Uzumaki Namikaze estate. "I'm here," Naruto said. "It's about time. I thought I'd have to drag you out of your apartment." Kushina said, "Wait until I put that barrier around my apartment. I'm staying there forever." Naruto said and she just snickered. "A barrier is nothing to me. Try again." Kushina said, "I'll move to another country." Naruto said and she just looked at him. "Am I seriously that bad?" Kushina asked. "A little bit." Naruto said, "I'm home, Mom. Oh, and I brought Hinata with me for dinner." Narumi said and pointed to Hinata. Welcome home, sweetie. Hello, Hinata. Kushina said. Hello, Lady Kushina. Hinata said. Oh look. Your brother is joining us for dinner and staying the night. Kushina said and pointed to Naruto. Doesn't he already live here? Narumi asked. Nope. He moved out a month after you became a genin. Kushina said and Hinata was staring at him with her jaw open since he didn't have a mask on. It's rude to stare. Oh, and you might want to close your mouth before something unpleasant goes in there. Naruto said and Hinata passed out from a huge nosebleed. Seriously? Kushina asked. What? It's not my fault she has a perverted mind. I could have meant anything other than what she thought. Naruto said. Why'd you move out? Narumi asked. Because I like to have my own space. It's not like I'm always alone. Shizuka is always at my apartment. Naruto said. Why is she always there? Kushina asked. She lives across the hall from me and she can't cook. Naruto said and looked at his hand. What's so interesting about your hand? Kushina asked and he showed her a seal. This is connected to a security seal at my apartment and it gets warm when somebody breaks into my apartment. I'll be back. Naruto said and vanished. Why don't I know the Shunshin yet? Narumi asked, as she placed Hinata on the couch. You just never learned it. We're having hot pot tonight for dinner and before you ask, yes, your father will be joining us. Kushina said. Naruto's apartment. Naruto quickly arrived at his apartment and although the door was closed, he could tell that somebody kicked his door in. He concealed his chakra and walked on the ceiling to the noise he heard coming from his room. He went in and saw Menma giving instructions to several root Anbu. Find whatever jutsus or weapons he has and seal them away. I don't care if we tear this entire apartment up. Danzo knows he's hiding some rare jutsus in this apartment and he wants them. Menma said and then they all fell to the ground dead. You picked the wrong apartment. Naruto thought and then knocked Menma out with a chakra-enhanced chop to the neck. Your lucky mom wants me to give you a chance. Naruto said and made some shadow clones to fix his apartment which didn't take long. Boss, we don't have the chakra to fix the security seal on the door. It was broken when the door was kicked in. A clone said, I'll do it. Did you at least replace the door? Naruto asked. Yup. The clone said and they all went up in smoke, but he made another one. Take him to the Uzumaki Namikaze estate and drop him on his face. Don't let him wake up until you're gone. Naruto said and handed Menma to the clone. Yes, sir. The clone said and vanished until there was a knock on the door. Open up. Shizuka said and he went to the door. Can I help you? Naruto asked. Yeah, I'm hungry. What's for dinner? Shizuka asked. I'm not eating here tonight. I'm staying at my parents' house tonight since my mom and I have a mission tomorrow. Naruto said. Okay. Then what is she cooking? Shizuka asked. I don't know. You can come with me after I finish what I need to do here. Naruto said. What do you have to do? Shizuka asked. Put a new security seal on my door. It's more advanced than the last one. Naruto said. What happened to the last one? Shizuka asked. It was too weak. Naruto said and got to work. How are you going to put that small seal on the door? It's so tiny that I imagine you'll mess it up. Shizuka said. Listen, whatever you see, do not reveal it to anyone, okay? Naruto asked. Okay. Shizuka said. This is how I managed to put this small seal on without messing it up. Naruto said and activated his Sharingan. Whoa. Those are the same eyes as the one Kakashi-sensei has behind his headband. Shizuka said. I know. I use them with my seals to analyze the smallest details so I don't mess them up. Naruto said and started to get to work on the seal. That's so cool. Shizuka said. Thanks. So, what have you been doing since we came back from the mission? Naruto asked. Nothing much really. Just walked around the village until a few minutes ago when I came here. I mean I thought I saw that Hyuga girl following me around the village, but I wasn't sure. I saw two green jumpsuit wearing idiots screaming about the springtimes of youth, saw some lady with purple hair and a revealing outfit stab a guy for taking some of her dango. Oh, and I saw some guy that looks like Shikamaru get yelled at by his wife. It's been a rather eventful day. Shizuka said. Hinata probably was following you. The two green-wearing idiots are Might Guy and his student Rock Lee. The purple-haired lady who stabbed somebody is Anko Mitarashi, and that guy getting yelled at by his wife is Shikamaru's father, Shikaku. Naruto said, as he finished the seal. Why would Hinata follow me around the village? That's stalking. Shizuka said. She doesn't like you. Well, she sees you as a possible threat. Naruto said. A threat for what? Shizuka asked. She has a crush on me and you're always with me. Naruto said. Well, too bad. I'm always going to be with you. Shizuka said. Right. Alright. Ready to go? Naruto asked, as he finished the seal. You're done already? Shizuka asked. Yup. Doesn't take me long to make a seal. Naruto said. Clearly. Let's go. Shizuka said. Alright. Naruto said and grabbed her hand, making her turn red. What are you doing? Shizuka asked. Taking you to my parents' house. Naruto said. He's holding my hand. Shizuka thought and they vanished. Uzumaki Namikaze estate. I'm back. I brought Shizuka with me as well. Naruto said. Welcome to my home, Shizuka. Kushina said and noticed them holding hands. Thank you for having me. What are you cooking? It smells delicious. Shizuka said. We're having beef hot pot. So, mind telling me what this is? Kushina asked and motioned to their hands. We're holding hands. Naruto said. Why? Kushina asked. Because she has soft hands. Naruto said and Shizuka blushed. Are you going to let go? Kushina asked. Are you going to keep bringing it up? Naruto asked. Maybe. Yes. Kushina said. Then there's no point in me stopping. Besides, she hasn't said anything about it. Naruto said and Shizuka had steam coming out of her ears. Ah, look. She's blushing like Hinata. Kushina said. Is Minato here? Naruto asked, as he quickly changed the subject. Yes. We were all just waiting for you to arrive. Kushina said. Okay. Naruto said and they went to the table. Look who finally showed up. The whole family is back together again. Kushina said and Menma groaned. Why is he here? He's the special guest you were talking about. I'd rather die than eat at the same table as him. Menma said. Keep it up and you'll get your wish. Kushina said. Relax. Shizuka, it's nice to see you. Welcome to our home. Minato said. Thank you, Lord Hokage. Shizuka said, as they started to eat. How have you been adjusting to life in Konoha? Minato asked. It's been easy. I mean, Naruto's been showing me around and helping me out. There was an incident today when I thought somebody was stalking me around the village though. Shizuka said and Hinata gasped a little bit. Really? Should I look into it for you? Minato asked. No, I can handle it. Besides, whoever it is must be weak if they follow me all around the village and not attack me. Shizuka said. If it continues to happen, just let me know. I'll look into it for you. Minato said. Thank you. Shizuka said. So, Naruto, how'd it go at your apartment? Did you find out who broke into your apartment? Kushina asked and Menma dropped his food. No. When I got there the place was a mess and they clearly didn't find what they were looking for. I used some shadow clones to fix the place up before I came over here. Naruto said and Menma sighed. Somebody broke into your apartment? Minato asked. Yeah, it's no big deal. Whoever breaks in again will seriously regret it. Naruto said. I don't get it. How can somebody break into your apartment? It's in the ninja apartment complex. Narumi said. How do you know where I live? Naruto asked. Shizuka told me you lived across the hall from her. Narumi said and he looked at Shizuka. Whoops. Shizuka said and stuffed her mouth with food. Right. Naruto said. So, Mom, since the Chunin exams are coming up soon, will we enter? Narumi asked. I'm thinking about it. Show me some improvement over the next 2 months and I'll let you know. Kushina said. Yes. I totally want to enter and become a Chunin. Narumi said. Being a Chunin is a big responsibility. Are you sure you can handle it? Kushina asked. You were a Chunin once and you did just fine. Naruto said. What's that supposed to mean? Kushina asked. Makoto told me you weren't exactly the most reliable chunin because of your temper, and while Narumi does have a temper that rarely shows, she's much more level-headed than you were from what Makoto said. Naruto said. Exactly how much did Makoto tell you about me when you were with her? Kushina asked. A lot. Naruto said. Well, don't repeat it. Kushina said. If you say so. Hinata, it's rude to stare at people. Naruto said, and she squealed. Sorry. Hinata said. So, Hinata, how's everything going with Kurenai? You're her first squad. Minato said. It's going well. She's very nice and a great jonin. Hinata said and looked at Naruto again. Why does she keep looking at him? Menma thought and squeezed his hand into a fist. Weird. She didn't stutter, and is she poking her chest out? Kushina thought. That's good. Minato said, and Menma slammed his hands on the table. I want to fight you, Naruto. Menma said. Menma, sit down. Kushina said, and he ignored her. Fight me, Menma said and jumped at Naruto, but Kushina grabbed him with her chains, then slammed him to the ground as. I said sit yourdown. There will be no fighting. Kushina yelled and used her chains to put Menma in his seat. Kushina. Minato said. What? Kushina yelled and Minato looked at her, then Menma. Right. Sorry you had to see that, Shizuka. Kushina said. It's okay. Shizuka said. No, I am the wife of our Hokage and it's not acceptable for me to act like that in front of our guests. Kushina said. Come on. Keep it together, Kushina. Minato thought. Kushina. Naruto. Can I speak with the two of you in my office? Minato asked. About what? Naruto asked. Your mission tomorrow. Minato said. Oh, sure. Kushina said. Excuse us. Minato said, and they left. Is this how dinner always is at your house? Shizuka asked Narumi. Sort of. Menma always causes problems. Narumi said. Didn't you eat dinner at your old village? I'm sure where you came from there has been a lot of tension due to all of the women there. Menma said. What did you just say? Shizuka asked. I'm just saying. Having a village with nothing other than women there without a man running things is just too much, and I'm sure you all fought a lot when it's that time of the month for you. Menma said. Menma, shut up. I'm so sorry about him, Shizuka. Narumi said. It's okay. He wonders why Hinata likes Naruto instead of him. He's a power-hungry East who doesn't have the strength to back up the big talk he spews from his mouth. Shizuka said. What was that? Menma asked. You heard me. Now be a good little boy and shut up. Shizuka said, and Menma lunged at her. Menma, stop. Narumi said and tackled him off of Shizuka, leading to a brawl. Minato's office. Is this really about the mission? Naruto asked. Sort of. I decided that the rank for this mission would be S rank given the circumstances surrounding it. When you get to the village, bring the girl to the estate and I'll meet with her there. Minato said. Sure. Naruto said. Is that all? Kushina asked. No. I know you want to discipline Menma and your emotions are wild because of what we've discovered about him, but we need to try to change his ways. Minato said. That's not going to happen. Naruto said. We still have time. Minato said. No. Menma was the one who broke into my apartment. He's definitely working with Danzo since he was instructing Root Anbu to destroy my place looking for jutsus and weapons that Danzo thinks I have. I killed the Root Anbu, knocked Menma out and had a shadow clone bring Menma here. There's no hope in saving him. Naruto said. Are you sure? Minato asked. Yeah, I saw him with my own eyes. Naruto said. Maybe I can talk to him again. Kushina said. We're running out of time with him, Kushina. The amount of complaints I get from civilians about him are increasing every month. The most I can do is suspend him again, but he'll be back for the Chunin exams and that's just the thing. I don't know if he'll react badly to foreign ninja in the village. Minato said. Minato, please. Kushina said. I'm sorry, Kushina. Tomorrow I have to suspend Menma again. Minato said. That's just pushing him more towards the side we don't want him on. Kushina said. Don't you think I know that? Exclamation mark. It's out of my hands. I'm the Hokage and I can't show favoritism to him just because he is my son. I already pushed it when you wanted all 3 of our children on Team 7 and I only got away with it because Anko decided to not become a Jonin instructor. I'm sorry, but I have to do this. I'll talk to him myself to see if he can change, and if he doesn't show any progress by the Chunin exams, I'll have no choice to give Naruto the mission. Minato said, first I think we should remove the 9 tails first and see how his attitude is on his suspension without the 9 tails. I think you should make your decision after that. Kushina said, Naruto, you're heavily involved in this. What do you think? Minato asked. Personally, I don't think he's going to change. I mean, working with Danzo is a gigantic red flag and he even tried to get them killed on their mission. He's lucky to get this much leeway after that. Naruto said, and they heard a crash. What the hell was that? Kushina asked. Let's go. Minato said. Dining room. The dining room was a mess as the brawl between Menma and Shizuka got even worse. Nearly everything was broken. Menma had a busted lip, a black eye, Shizuka had ripped clothes, Hinata was knocked out by the hot pot, and Narumi was trying to be the peacekeeper. Narumi had her chakra chains wrapped around Menma and Shizuka. What the happened here? Kushina yelled. Menma started it. Narumi said, hey, you're supposed to be on my side. Menma said, not when you're a power-hungry East who can't handle a few words. Narumi said and squeezed him tighter with her chakra chains. Ah, stop. It hurts. Menma said. Narumi, let him go. Minato said. Fine. Narumi said and dropped Menma to the ground, but gently placed Shizuka down. Menma, go to your room. Kushina said. I don't have to listen to you. I'm an adult now since I'm a ninja. Menma said. Little boy, you live in my house, under my roof, and you'll listen to what the hell I say. Go to your room. Now. Kushina said, and Menma glared at her. No. Menma said. Bad decision. Narumi thought. Okay. Kushina said and gave a sweet smile. Let me show you where you'll be sleeping. Narumi said and grabbed Shizuka before running off. Earth style. Weighted boulder jutsu. Before anybody could move, Menma suddenly fell to the floor and he couldn't move his body. Hey, what is this? Menma asked. An earth-style ninjutsu that adds weight to my target. Naruto said. Release me. Let me up and I promise I'll kill you slowly. Menma said, and Kushina had a sad look on her face. Menma, what happened to you? What happened to the sweet little boy that I know? Kushina asked. Nothing happened. I didn't do anything. Shizuka hit me first. Menma said. I can't do this. Kushina said and walked away. Knock him out and get him ready for later. I'll talk to your mother. Minato whispered to Naruto and left. Now that they're gone, let me give you some advice. Naruto said. I don't need any advice from you. You're beneath me. I'm not listening to a word you're going to say. Menma said and started to make random noises until Naruto put a silencing seal on him. There we go. Now, your behavior is quite shitty and it's been that way for a long time. You may not like me and I honestly don't care, but mom loves you a lot. You're on thin ice with this village and you're working on getting suspended twice in less than 6 months as a ninja. Normally, you wouldn't be given this much leeway as you'd most likely be killed in other villages, and you're actually lucky that somebody hasn't killed you yet. You think the people in the village like you when in reality they just tolerate you so they don't have to deal with your antics. Berating civilians, attacking a fellow kunoichi just because she said something to you, and now disobeying mom. Get your act together or you'll be dead before your ninja career really takes off and you can kiss your dreams goodbye. Naruto said and released the silencing seal. You. Menma said and spit in his face. Alright, if that's how you want to play it. Fine. Naruto said. What does that mean? Menma asked. Don't worry about it. Naruto said and knocked him out with a strong kick to the face before releasing the jutsu.